$20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email cattailcrossing.ca.
And we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. But we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if
you guys can hear me now?
Then it's a win for both of us.
And that's NoBullRV.ca.
I don't know if you can hear us. Got me? Now I can, yeah. Somehow my mic kept muting. I don't know what the...
This is the Jason Gregor Show.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
On Sports 1440.
And the Oilers Nation YouTube channel.
Well, a magnificent Monday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And we are coming to you live from humid and hot Fort Lauderdale, where it is only going to get hotter in the next few hours. We are 4 hours and 20 minutes away from what will probably be the most exciting and hopefully memorable game for all Oilers fans as the Oilers look to complete the comeback and win their 6th Stanley Cup in franchise history and their first since 1990. I'm Jason Gregor. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. You can always get involved. You can text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. And today we are live at Game 7, courtesy of On the Rocks, Jasper Ave 118th, and highly recommend. If you want to get somewhere to watch the game, unbelievable atmosphere on Friday night at OTR, and it's going to be just as electric tonight. This could be one of the most bumping Mondays Edmonton has seen in a long, long time. It should be fantastic. And Connor, I know how it is here. There's, you know what? I think there's going to be at least 5,000 Oilers fans in the attendance tonight. And I've met fans that have flown in from Antigua, from Eastern time zones, the Maritimes. Met some guys this morning at our hotel who took the red eye from Vancouver last night and got in early this morning. Frank and I were heading down to the practices, and they were just coming in. They're coming in from all over the place, and many of them are like, you know what, I've been a fan for a long time, and I just wanted to be able to watch this game in person. What's the sense in Edmonton today?
Greg, the vibes they're unbelievable. Like right now, just walking around the mall, you see blue and orange everywhere. Driving in today, I saw a little daycare walking all the little kids wearing Oilers gear. I mean, everyone here is fired up. We're ready for this one. A lot of nerves. I'm talking to a lot of people. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're asking us for advice. How do we pass the next couple hours before this game gets going? So the vibes here are amazing. I saw your flight down. That alone told me all I need to know about the crowd that's going down to South Beach for this one. It's going to be amazing down there.
Yeah, that was really lucky. We talked about that on Friday. It kind of came at the last chance and was lucky to get a spot on there. And, it sold out super fast. And, man, they probably could have sold 4 or 5 more of them. I know lots of people were really scrambling and struggling to try to get a flight here. It was milk run after milk run. There was very few even one connectors to get here. I got to talk to guys who had 30-hour flights by the time they would start and layovers and different things like that. I was like, oh, my God, brutal. But they want to get here. I know there were some who took the red eye last night and are arriving probably just now or within an hour to get here. Maybe mix in an hour nap, probably not, and then and get to it. I know they've got meet parties all across at different places here in Fort Lauderdale for Oiler fans to meet up before the game. Like, they're going to be going in droves, and I know it's going to be the same way back at home. As I mentioned, go down the rocks, Jasper Ave 118. I highly recommend, though, if you want to get a table, to go as early as you can. Now, there's standing room only as well if you want to watch it. So this is great, but it's going to be very, this could be one of the more memorable games in franchise history, of course. And I was talking to Mike Rupp, of course, a regular on our show, Cons, and Rupper, he thinks this might be, this is he thinks the biggest game in NHL history that he can remember. And when you think about it, it's got a chance for somebody to do something that hasn't happened really, since the Second World War. And that is to, come back from a 3-0 deficit in the Cup final and win. You got to go back to 1942. In NBA, it's never happened. MLB, it's happened once, but not in a championship series. And this would be the 5th time a team's come down from 3-0 to win a series, but only the first time in the Cup final. Then you got Connor McDavid, who's already broken one of Wayne Gretzky's records for most assists in a playoffs. He currently has the 4th most points ever. Gretzky had 47, Lemieux had 44, Gretzky had 43, McDavid has 42. So a point or two tonight, and he's 3rd or 2nd. And, you throw in the Panthers, who Connor, they were the President's Trophy winner in 2022. Then, they won a round. Then they lost in the second round. They lost in the Cup final last year. And they don't want to be the team who blows a 3-0 lead in the final. There's so many storylines to suck you in, whether you're an Oilers fan, a Panthers fan, or just a hockey fan, or even just a sports fan who's like, I got to watch this game tonight. I want to see what happens.
Totally agree. And then, the fact that you could have the Cup coming back to Canada, which is more important to some than others. But for Connor McDavid being on the biggest stage, having the eyes of the sporting world watch him, it's something that, the storylines are there. And I kind of agree with Rupper. There's so much intrigue to this game tonight. Going into Game 7, the storylines hasn't happened since 1942 with the team coming back from a 3 games to none deficit. It's absolutely massive. And I'm really intrigued to see how this Florida Panthers team comes out, Gregor. We know the Oilers are going to have all the confidence in the world. I don't know if you had a chance to interact with any players, coaches, or anything like that, but losing 3 straight games, you just need one. I'm curious what that will do to the psyche of this team.
I look at the first goal is very important in every game. If you look at it, your odds of winning increase. In Game 7s in this NHL history, teams who score first are 12-5. Now, one of those teams who came back after giving up the first goal, the 1987 Edmonton Oilers on home ice against the Philadelphia Flyers. That was the night Ron Hextall made the most saves in a Game 7, 40. And they still lost. That's why he won the Conn Smythe that year. He was unbelievable. The only reason the Flyers were really in that series was because of him. And so, the Oilers, I just look at, they've scored the first goal in the last 3 games. And not only did they score the first goal, they went up 2-0 in Game 5. They went up 3-0 in Game 6. They went up Game 4 was 2-0. Game 5 and 6 were each 3-0. And I just look at Florida. They really haven't, I think, felt good about their game since Game 3. Now, Edmonton, the difference is when Edmonton lost in Games 1 and 3, there was lots that they liked about their game. Look at Florida. They got absolutely demolished in Game 4. Game 5, they probably liked the third period. But I'm not sure what they loved about Game 6 in Edmonton, right? They were never really threatening in that game at all. So I just think there's a team that could be fragile. And man, the first goal tonight could be monumental for the Edmonton Oilers.
Totally with you. I mean, the last thing I think you want to do is give Sergei Bobrovsky the chance to find that guy that he was those first 3 games. You know, you don't beat him in the first period. He starts feeling good about himself. It's an emotional sport. There's confidence that can weigh you down. And if you start feeling really good about yourself and you have the upside that he has, it could go a long way. So I'm with you. You get that first goal, maybe 2 early on. Could be a very good start for the Oil.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be great. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. Hey guys, I can't believe this is happening. Game 7, I've got a colonoscopy scheduled for tomorrow. Thought about canceling, but these appointments aren't easy to get. Anybody who's ever had a colonoscopy knows about the god-awful stuff you have to drink and what it does to you. I can't bear the idea of having to pause the game every time I have to relieve myself. Oh my God, furball. That might be a little bit of too much information, but hey, we hope everything goes well with the old colonoscopy. Oh, we like it. Hey, guys, how many teams have come back from 3-0 to tie it, but then have lost in the final? Just curious from D listener. In the final one, Detroit in 1945. So they came back, tied it, and then lost. And the other time, Toronto came back from a 3-0 deficit against Detroit and won. So you can say that it's 1-1. And it's either going to be 1-2 or 2-1 later on tonight. Hey, guys, how many games go to overtime? For some reason, I think this one's going to OT. Well, Game 7 overtime, Stanley Cup final, doesn't happen very often. It's happened twice, 1950 and 1954, and Detroit won both times. So, hey, anything's possible. And the way this playoffs has gone, anything is possible. Would I put some money down to play Alberta.ca on an overtime game? Probably not, based on the odds. But the way the order season's gone, could they stretch it out to make it a little bit more stressful for you? Very possible, right? When you look at how this season has gone, Edmonton has definitely never done it the easy way. And really, they had a bad start, right? At 12 bad games. But after that, 70 games of really good hockey. And then, getting down 3-2 in a series, that's happened to a lot of teams. The Oilers did it. They came back and won 6-7 and only allowed 17 and 15 shots in those 2 games. They really locked it down. That's the one thing that's been impressive about Edmonton. When they've needed to lock it down, they've been able to do it. And that's been massive for them. Absolutely massive. So if that continues tonight, I think they really have a good chance. Now the other thing that's at play here for me is probably a little bit bigger, and it comes down to all of the fans listening. And having talked to many of the different fans that I met on the plane up here and at the Elbow Room last night, and just you sense really, what the team means to fans. So I wrote the article, and I encourage you to read it at OilersNation.com today, my GDB. And, it just talks about the fans and the importance of it. And yes, this is big for the players, but when you look at how many fans there are just in the Edmonton area, never mind across the country and United States and Europe and listening elsewhere, right? We've had so many people reach out to us on social media that, they listen to the pod or they listen to the show in other countries just because, it gives them a feel of home, and they love the Oilers and it's the playoffs and it's fantastic. But you realize just, how much the team means to a lot of people, and sports, what it unifies you and has you, who you're watching it with tonight. Think about who you're watching the game with tonight. Right? Maybe, if you're a parent, you have young kids, you're definitely watching with your kids. Right? And it's like a fun moment, especially if they win. And even if they lose, it's still a memorable run. And there's people, we had text coming in from Bob, my sons don't live in Edmonton area anymore. They both live about 4 hours out of town in different directions. We made a deal that if they got to Game 7, everyone would drive in and we'd watch it together as a family. It hasn't happened in years. I can't wait. Think about that. That's outstanding, right? It's a way to get your family together. And I'm sure you can joke about, hey, you don't need a hockey game to it, but it gets everybody together and they're nervous and excited and happy and cheering. And that's what tonight's going to be. And if they win, there'll be lots of new fans for life. There will be younger fans who are at the moss pit and at the watch parties who, you know what, obviously, hey, when you're 18 to 25, maybe even 30, sometimes you don't have the disposable income that you do maybe later in life. And sometimes later in life, you have 3 kids, but you don't have it then either. You know, it all depends at different people at different times and, you know, where you're at in how you view the game. Some people are lucky. They could fly down, right? There's some people said, you know what, hey, I'll pay off the visa bill later. I just want to go and experience it. And it really kind of resonated with me. Just sometimes you forget about the importance of sports and what it means to people. And especially in a market where the first 11 years were unbelievable in Edmonton. They went to the Cup final 6 times. They won it 5. Then obviously they had the 86 Steve Smith goal. So there was definitely some tough times in there, but way more good times than bad. And then, you know, 91 and 92, they got to the conference finals. Those are pretty good, kind of remnants of the Cup teams. They just petered out. But then from 1993 to 2019, Oiler fans, no one saw fewer wins than you for a 25-year period. Like, we call it the decade of darkness because it was really dark. But it was really 12 out of 13 years where they didn't come close to the playoffs. Well, I guess kind of close in 09 at 85 points. Or maybe that was 08. But there was a lot of time where the Oilers weren't really a competitive team. Yet the fans kept not only going to games, buying jerseys, buying T-shirts, hats, socks, memorabilia at auctions, paying way more than you should because you knew it was going to charity. And when you consider just how much fans have given to the organization, you could make a strong argument that they've given a lot more than they've received for those 25 years. But now the last 5 years, since Ken Holland took over, the Oilers have become, you know, it didn't happen right away, right? They didn't win in 20 or 21, but his 3rd year in, right, they became a legit competitor, went to the conference final. Now weren't as good, kept improving, lost to Vegas. Now they've clawed their way all the way into the Stanley Cup final in Game 7. And if they win, it's not only what it does this year. Like, I think there's a really good chance that Edmonton's a team that you could see back in the Cup final a few times. Like, look at Tampa Bay. They went 3 consecutive seasons. Now there's a lockout, so maybe, you know, the fatigue factor helps. So Florida's made it back-to-back Cups. So you can do it. It's hard, but you can do it. And with McDavid and Draisaitl and so many other players, you know, they got some young guys in Holloway and Broberg coming who I think are going to be even bigger impact players on their team next year. And it's really been kind of a reward, I think, for Oiler fans, especially the ones who have been around that long. And there's some fans who came in, and if you were, I don't know, let's say you were born in 1996. So now you're 10 years of age in 2006, and you're like, oh my goodness, I love hockey now. They went to the Cup. And then you had a decade of suck. And it was like, I know there were kids for a while there that, you know what, it's you want to cheer for a winning team. You do. And so they gravitated. Patrick Kane was their favorite player, Ovechkin, Crosby. And I understand that they're good players. But Edmonton, they had some good players. Obviously, Taylor Hall and Nugent Hopkins, and, you know, Eberle, they were good. But, you know, they weren't Connor McDavid good. But they also, the team wasn't competitive. And now the team's competitive. And you can't guarantee success. No one can. Doesn't mean you win. But there's at least, I sense, a reward for all the loyalty the fans had for those 25 years where the Edmonton Oilers had the worst points percentage of all the NHL teams. The worst. You just didn't see a lot of wins, right? And that's what makes you happy as a fan. You want to go to the rink. You want to go see it. And I hope for your sake, because I know the majority of our listeners are Oilers fans. You've waited a long time for this. I really hope you get a win. And we'll talk about that more. We're going to hear from Zach Hyman on the fans. We'll hear from Hyman and Kleppbaum. That's a really, you know, interesting kind of what it meant for Kleppbaum, is, you know, born in Sweden. When was the Stanley Cup something that he thought about? So we'll get to that. We got Arda Ocal joining us, Tater with the 2-minute warning. Mike Commodore will talk about the pressures of Game 7. Of course, he was on the winning side in 06. We got Craig McTavish, who's a head coach, of course, on the losing side in 06. Speck, Woodley, Wanye Gretzk, and we'll get lots of text in. Your thoughts at 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox, 833-401-1440. We'll take a quick break and come back on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We're coming to you live in Fort Lauderdale for Game 7, the Stanley Cup Final, brought to you by On the Rocks, Jasper Ave, 118th. Get down there, get your seats early.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-the-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals, like mattresses starting at just $149.99. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
A few years ago, I was doing okay, but the rising cost of living has made my credit card bills go through the roof, and I don't know how to handle it anymore.
Times are tough. The cost of living is causing many to fall into debt through no fault of their own. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed. There are options that can help you get back on your feet. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I can help you find a solution to become debt-free. Visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing Dr. Vance Elliott for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
The Ben Maller Show rolls out weeknights at midnight here on Sports 1440. I've been told I have one of the most compelling overnight sports talk shows, but I question that decision. I will let you be the judge. Check it out, midnight to 4 here on Sports 1440.
Portion of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
All right, Gregor, you're live.
Welcome back. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, coming to you live from Fort Lauderdale. I'm actually, as you can see, if you're watching online in my hotel room, as the wonders of technology, able to do the show here today. And then we'll wheel over just in time to see Game 7 in what will be a madhouse in Florida tonight. The Panther fans will probably have to be even louder because there's going to be, my guess is at least 5,000 Oilers fans, maybe even more. We'll see the final count when they come in. They're still arriving in town today. It's crazy, but people are dying now. Greg, are you saying that the game's not sold out? Oh no, the game's sold out, but there's the secondary ticket market, and if you're willing to pony up, right now I see tickets online, anywhere from 800 American up to 2,500, depending on the seat and where it's located and what you're willing to pay. So no, there's no seat to buy unless you basically want to go through the secondary market. That's just that's kind of how it is. I think that's what everybody would expect at this time. Now, let's get to the Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And for only $2 plus tax, all summer long, you can make it a Sunday fun day every day. Topped with either hot fudge or caramel sauce. Get your Sunday today only at McDonald's. And Arda Ocal from ESPN joins us once again. Arda, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just to add to what you were talking about there in terms of tickets, the average ticket price, according to Vivid Seats for tonight's game, is $1,678. That is the second hottest Stanley Cup final ticket since they started tracking this in 2010. Only the 2019 game in Boston, Game 7, was only slightly higher. And apparently, according to Vivid Seats, 14% of the fans in Amerant Bank Arena tonight will be from Edmonton.
Yeah, and so that's well, I was thinking 5,000. I wondered, like they say from Edmonton, because there's so many Oilers fans I met from like Antigua and Toronto and other places. So I wonder if they're even counting them. So that number might be a little bit higher. I'll be curious to see.
I imagine you're right. I imagine it's the fans that they've seen ordered tickets from Edmonton specifically, I would guess. Yeah. But that's still a significant number from Edmonton. And then, I mean, all the fans, like you said, that we're not accounting for the ones that are traveling from all across the continent.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild game. What's your expectations, Arda, when it's been a weird series, of course. Only the third time in NHL history teams come back from 3-0 to tie it, and we got to go back to 45 and 42 beforehand. So it's just not normal in today's NHL. The Panthers were up 3-0, probably a little lucky to be leading 3-0. Meanwhile, the Oilers have won their 3 games and are probably full marks for theirs. Do you give Edmonton the advantage going into this game, or is there no advantage because it's one game?
I truly feel like it's hard not to buy into the narrative. It's hard to avoid the narrative, right? I mean, look, we've seen the pictures online of the Oilers players looking very calm and happy walking to practice. Connor McDavid holding a coffee, laughing with Corey Perry. Like, we've all seen the images, right? But for the Florida Panthers, they play well when their backs are against the wall. And their backs are no more against the wall in this series, if you're looking at it in a vacuum, than right now. They haven't faced elimination. Now they are. So I expect them to have that jump because they've been in kind of situations where they feel pressure. They've performed well. But counter to that is the fact that the Oilers have all the confidence in the world going into this game. And as they should, because they've had a heck of a second half of the Stanley Cup final. And I would expect, to me, you tell me if you feel otherwise. To me, it feels like whoever scores the first goal wins the game. That's how I'm feeling this as a hockey fan.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue that when you look at all the numbers, and especially to me, I think if Edmonton scores first, just based on Florida really hasn't had much to feel great about their last 3 games. They've been down 2-0, 3-0, and 3-0. If they get down 1-0, might be hard on them. I do think on the other side, if Florida scores first, maybe they're just like, okay, they exhale, and now they're like, okay, we're back. And so it might be a little bit steeper of a hill. But the first goal will be massive, especially if we think that it's going to be a low-scoring game, right? If I thought it was 5-4, maybe not as much, but I don't get the sense we're going to see a lot of goals, but I also didn't think we'd see an 8-1 blowout in game 4. So who knows?
Yeah, that 8-1 game we're going to look back on as really the turning points of this entire series, because that's the one that took the wind out of the sails for the Panthers. They just lost their mojo after that, at least for the games that ensued. And we'll see if that continues here. But the last several Stanley Cup final game 7s went under. So your point about the goal total in this one, you could certainly see it being a very tight game with players not wanting to make mistakes. And it's certainly hitting the under, maybe like a 2-1 final. Look, as a hockey fan, I understand Edmonton Oilers fans will not be happy with me saying this. I'm saying this as a neutral hockey observer and a hockey lover going into this game. It would be incredible theater if this game went to overtime.
Well, yeah. Well, we haven't seen it since 1950, right? So, yeah, game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. I talked about it earlier, Arda. I said that would kind of be fitting for how the Oilers season's gone. It's never perfectly been easy, although it was 12 bad games, and then they were the best team in the NHL for 70 games. So, it wasn't like they just got hot for 2 months. They've been the best team in the league since November 12th. And, fitting, they're in the Stanley Cup final. Where do you come out on, like, Connor McDavid? And, he's got 42 points. He's broken Wayne Gretzky's assist record. He's got the 4th most points ever in one postseason, 5 back of Wayne and 1 back of Gretzky for 3rd and 2 back of Lemieux for 2nd. So, let's say we went to your theory of overtime. And let's say Edmonton lost in game 7 overtime. Why would that so drastically, that one goal, change how some people would view Connor McDavid's legacy? Like, I think it's got, like, if we take a step back and break it all down, we're going to say one goal is going to be like, well, now he can be in the conversation for top 5 players. But if they don't score the goal, then he can't. Like, it's kind of odd.
I agree with you in the sense that hockey is the ultimate team sport. So he may not even be on the ice in this scenario that you're presenting. He may not even be on the ice. He may be a +3 in the game and lose in overtime still, right? He could have 5 points and the team can still lose. Like that's just the way hockey goes. But you and I also both know when we are having these conversations, when we are debating this on sports talk radio, just like we are here, the fact is that people hesitate by human nature to put people in the conversation for the greatest players of all time, even if it is an individual talent, which Connor McDavid clearly has. He clearly should be in these conversations already. I agree. But people hesitate to put him there until he wins a championship. And so long as that does not happen, people will unfortunately omit him from those conversations or bring that up every single time, because the greatest players in the conversation currently have at least one, most of them several. And so, yeah, you're right. One goal in overtime, the Panthers win, and Connor McDavid still doesn't have a Stanley Cup. If that were to happen, he should absolutely be in the conversation. But you and I both know that it probably won't happen to the degree if he does win the Stanley Cup tonight, and that will erase all doubt. And certainly, like, if they win the Cup tonight, Connor McDavid, you tell me, is he already a statue guy in Edmonton? I think he is. He wins the Cup, that's cemented. He wins the Cup, he's cemented as a top 10 greatest player of all time. At least people have to absolutely include him in the conversation. That's how I feel about it. And by the way, he locked up the Conn Smythe, in my opinion, last week.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Conn Smythe's his, although, trust me, he doesn't want to join the likes of Giguère and Hextall and now the Reggie Leach who have won it when they've lost. Because that's like, yeah, it's nice, but it's definitely, that would be the worst for him. Like, that's not the trophy he wants. But I agree with you. I think it's his and only his, regardless of what the outcome is in tonight's game. You look at it from a Florida perspective, and you see the difference in goals and everything in this series so far. What do you think the Panthers can do differently to have success tonight that they haven't had in games 4, 5, and 6?
They need Gustav Forsling to wake up defensively. He was terrific in games 1, 2, and 3, helping to shut down Connor McDavid. They need Sasha Barkov to do the same, be that 200-foot player that when he's on, he's the best 200-foot player in the game. Sergei Bobrovsky needs to be playoff Bob, the Bobbery, the Bob Rob, whatever you want to call it, like that level guy. He needs to out-duel Stuart Skinner, who, by the way, has been terrific. He's been great this postseason after game 3 and 4. And so Bobrovsky needs to match that at minimum and not be the Bobrovsky we've seen in the last few games, and has essentially either let in soft goals or has been solved with the Oilers shooting blocker side to beat them in large majority. And they need players like Matthew Tkachuk and Carter Verhaeghe to step up. Matthew Tkachuk needs to be his physical, pesky self. And look, like coming into this series, we were all talking about it. The Panthers have a lot of depth offensively. And if Stuart Skinner is playing average to below average, the Panthers will find a way to score. But those players haven't been playing to their potential in the last couple games, and the Panthers have suffered because of it.
Arda Ocal joins us from ESPN as we set up Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final tonight. The Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. We are under 4 hours from puck drop, 3 hours and 45 minutes for those of you who have a clock on. Arda, do you have any advice? Our listeners are like, what do they do? Obviously, other than listening to Sports Talk Radio, which they're doing, any great advice for the stressed, nervous, excited fan on how to pass the time between now and puck drop?
Hold the plank, do 10 push-ups, hold the plank for 5 minutes, do 30 crunches. What else? Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know what I would be doing. I think of exercise or video games. Beat Super Mario 3. That's my advice. Do something completely off the board. Play Contra. Play Super Mario. Play Blades of Steel and beat the whole thing as the Edmonton team. Which have the Elk colors in that game for some reason and not the Oilers colors. Very odd.
Arda, give me your prediction and who scores the game-winning goal.
I don't know why I feel this way, but like predictions are hilarious. You and I both know this, right? Like we love to give them out, and when they hit, we feel like geniuses. This is going to be the Leon Draisaitl game. He's going to wake up. He's going to score 2 goals. Maybe he'll even score the overtime winner. But we'll look back on Game 7 after him being a relatively quiet player this entire series. And this will be the game of Leon. That's my prediction. 3-2 overtime. Leon scores the overtime goal. McDavid raises the cup. He has this incredible grin on his face, and that'll be the statue in 15 years when he gets one to either the left or right of 99.
Ooh. I like it. Well, Arda, we'll see you at the rink, man. Enjoy the build-up and enjoy the game.
Enjoy Blades of Steel to everyone listening. And try to take your mind off this incredible pressure cooker. That's amazing. It's funny for you because you're the one who has to talk about it for the next several hours and already have been.
Oh yeah, no, it's honestly, I think sometimes like it's easier. I got to stay focused. Like honestly, I don't really get nervous anyway, but it is, I find the time passes quickly for me. I'm just like, oh, every segment, now we're getting closer. Like, you know what, to me, I've been to a Stanley Cup final before when the cup, only once when the cup's been in the building. I've been to Stanley Cup final games before, but not when the cup's being awarded in the building. So that'll be a first. It's something I always have watched on TV for years. I'm a big fan of seeing somebody reach their goal, right? And at the same time, you obviously see the other side of it, and it's heartaching, but that's life sometimes. You know what? And what I love about sports is it teaches us, you win some, you lose some, and you always want to keep trying. And whoever loses tonight, as Matthias Ekholm said, hey, there's going to be a loser. The sun's still going to come up tomorrow, and you're going to have to try to regroup, whichever team that is. And, it's going to be fascinating to see, for me, like how quickly, one of these two teams like Florida, can they become the Buffalo Bills? If they lose, could they get back for a third consecutive? That'd be a hell of a story.
It would. And I mean, they want to avoid the story of people bringing this up, the most epic collapse in NHL history, arguably for years to come too, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Thanks, Arda. We'll see you there, man. Have a good one.
Thank you.
That's Arda Ocal from ESPN. And man, we got a lot of text flying in. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey guys, my girls are 11 and 13 and they never cared about the Oilers, but now they are diehards thanks to this run. It's memories for a lifetime from the Ulster man. And exactly, right? It sucks people in because you go to school, you go to work, you go to the grocery store, everybody's talking about it. And right now, it's mainly positive. Like, you don't win every game, but so far the Oilers have won every series. And now they have a chance to win the fourth one. And it gets people so connected for a positive thing. Right. And that's what's kind of unique about sports. And I'm like, you try to think about other things, like you play those sports. And I think anybody out there listening who's played a sport in their life, I don't care if you won a tournament when you were in house league or you played AAA or maybe one minor hockey week, whatever it was, you won a soccer, football, anytime you've won with a group of friends, you always remember that. And sometimes you remember the losses too, because they hurt, but that's why you play. You could play hundreds and thousands of games and there's just certain ones that will stand out more. And this game tonight, there will be, the people that made the trip here will have a memory. The people that are going to the watch party, they're going to the moss pit, people that are going on the rocks, people that are going to the neighborhood party, people that are just in their basement because they like watching it by themselves. However you consume the game tonight and they win, it's a memory that you will have forever. And you very likely will remember it very intently for a long, long time. Like, we have some people text in, like, what do you remember still from 1984? Because you think about it, for that generation of Oilers fans, that was the first cup they won. Right now, it was 5 years in. But think about it. This is 5 years, since Ken Holland took over. Right? You had Connor McDavid for 9. But, the first few years wasn't great. 17 being the exception, of course. But 16, 18, 19, not good. 20, COVID kind of made everything a little squirrely. 21, you play well, you get swept, can't beat hell of a buck. Right? 22, you play well, you beat the Flames for the first time in meetings since 91. So that kind of fuels, I think, some young fans like, oh, Battle of Alberta, that Kachuk turtle, everything. Mike Smith, everything surrounding it. And then you move to losing to Vegas. And that one was really upsetting for a lot of fans. And then this year. And now you're here. And man, like, I don't know, Cons. It's just the excitement level. I'm not even in Edmonton, but just everybody I've talked to for the last few weeks, like it's just been building and building. And I just, you know what? I know I have some people that are like, hey, Gregor, don't talk about winning, your jinxing. I'm like, I'll say this for the 1,000th time. What we talk about today, and we give a prediction or that has no bearing on the outcome of the game, right? We talked about it before game 6. They're going to win. They won game 6. So clearly it doesn't matter, right? It's about to have fun. People ask me, do you know when the parade would be if they win? Yes, I do. It would be Wednesday if they win. So, which is a crazy turnaround. And because the draft's on Friday, free agency is a week today. Now, the Oilers, it's easy. Any RFAs who need to be qualified, right? That's got to be done by Thursday. No, sorry, Saturday. So, like, it's nuts how much stuff has to happen here in the next week. And imagine when you mix in the Oilers win. And like, there'll be players who win the cup for the Oilers on Monday and will be in a different organization next Monday. It's crazy. So you got to enjoy it, man. There's not live in the moment, all those cliche stuff, because it's true. So enjoy it wherever you watch it. We'll get to Cam Tait. We're also, I've heard a lot about, the Oilers and all the doubters. And I know it's human nature, but there's way more supporters than doubters. So I asked Zach Hyman about those who have supported the Oilers. We'll get to that and more when we return. It's Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live in Game 7 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's the Oilers and the Panthers, presented by On the Rocks, Jasper Ave 100. They got us here. And hey, you want to be there? I recommend getting there. Get your seat. Jasper Ave 118th. They brought in a few extra tables tonight because it is going to be bumping.
The Stanley Cup play. Sports 1440 has got you covered.
It's been a hell of a story so far, but I'm just really proud of the way, we gave ourselves a chance.
To South Florida for a winner-take-all Stanley Cup Final Game 7.
For all things Stanley, there's only one sports station in town. Sports 1540.
Elk Island rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. Guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Kevin, what are you doing in here?
Well, last month you were giving away, so I just thought I would see if you were still giving away in June.
Stop swearing. And yes, we are still giving away in June at St. Albert Dodge. Take our 2024 Durango. Was $64,500 and now just $52,900. Need a new Ram 1500 4x4 crew cab? We've got it. Originally $63,700, now just $44,900.
See, you are still giving away.
Kevin, stop swearing. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
It's to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
Over a calm, glassy lake, you cast your line. Your new Toyota sits majestically by the water's edge. A loon calls in the distance. Or a duck. Anyways, this moment isn't just a dream. It's an invitation to adventure. So stop dreaming. Red Tag days at Toyota are ending soon. For a limited time, lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $164 weekly for 60 months at 6.99% with $6,899 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We are excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house. Quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantork.com to find out more.
Welcome back, everyone. Jason Gregor coming to you live in Fort Lauderdale for Game 7, the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. And good news, the clock is ticking down. You're getting closer. 3 hours, 32 minutes to puck drop. Oilers and the Panthers. I know many of you are getting off work early to get set up. Don't worry, you can stay tuned right with us till 6 o'clock to calm your nerves or get you more excited. You don't want to miss Woodley's scouting report coming up at 5:20 today. What is the new wrinkle in maybe how they've attacked Bobrovsky the last few games? Because every time we talk to Kevin, he's looking at something new and how they're attacking him. And really look at Florida hasn't been able to figure out Stuart Skinner. Skinner is unbelievable as of late. So we'll get to all that with Woodley. We got Craig McTavish, Mike Commodore coming up, much more. But first, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tait, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. And all they're saying is, good luck, Nugent Hopkins. Good luck, Hyman. Get a win for legacyheating.ca. The 2-minute warning with Cam Tait. Of course, Cam has cerebral palsy, if you're just joining us, and has been a reporter for many years here in Edmonton. But through the wonders of technology now, his words come to life in our show.
Thank you. Almost 2 hours after Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Friday night, a good friend made his way out of Rogers Place to join the joyous crowd. I yelled out a few times to get his attention. After a few tries, I did, and he walked over. Wide smile. He was as excited just as he could be. Not only as a fan, but someone who has experienced the National Hockey League on several levels. I always learn from him, every time I am with him. And within seconds after our greeting, he ushered out the latest lesson. He said for my next radio segment on Sports 1440, I need to recognize the video coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Name, Noah Segal.
My friend used the word, cover your ears there. Grandma Anderson, ballsy.
Let's say it again because it's an important word for this broadcast. Ballsy. My friend was referencing Siegel's razor-sharp eye, who caught Florida Panther Sam Reinhart crossing the Edmonton Oilers blue line by an ice chip. No more than that. No more. Carter Verhaeghe had crossed the blue line. An ice chip. An ice chip, you understand. After Reinhart, Verhaeghe took the puck in on the left side of Stuart Skinner. Skinner made a save, but Alexander Barkov grabbed the rebound and scored. He scored 10 seconds after the Oilers went up 2-0. He scored, which swung the momentum to the Panthers, and the possibility the Panthers coming back to win the Stanley Cup. But Siegel, he saw something. He radioed Oilers assistant coach Mark Stewart, who consulted head coach Chris Knobloch, who, eventually, made the call to challenge the offside. It didn't take the NHL war room very long to reverse the on-ice call, and took the goal away. So the Oilers reclaimed their 2-0 lead and went on to win Game 6 and tie the best-of-7 series to Sunrise, Florida for tonight's Game 7. Now back to my friend after the game. His point certainly makes sense. Just imagine if that wasn't caught. If Segal didn't have the courage to make the call. My friend said he should be the first star of the game. My friend knows hockey. In fact, my friend will be talking to Jason Gregor right here on Sports 1440, around 4:20 today. Who is my friend, you ask? Craig McTavish. 2-minute warning with Cam Tait. Jason Gregor Show. Monday, Friday, Sports 1440.
Yeah, Siegel, that was a huge call, and it was the correct call. If you saw Dave Jackson, I know Paul Maurice at the time was rather animated and frustrated, and if you don't see the video, that and why they didn't see that one, I have no idea. Right? What you see on the bench isn't always going to be the replay that they get elsewhere, because you just don't. That's the TV broadcast, but there's different angles sometimes that they'll get, and obviously anybody who follows Dave Jackson, he put it out on Twitter the next day. I know some people would say, hey, they should get it right away out there. I'm like, why? They have it. And I'm sure they could show it to Florida in between periods, because after the game, Paul Maurice, they're playing a little bit of the gamesmanship, and I understand it. And, hey, you know what? We got to get CIA in here and, everything like that. And, that's fine. But anybody who saw the replay, you saw the angle, and it was offside by the slimmest of margins, but it was offside. Now, we can debate if that should be able to be frozen, because the human eye can't see it in real time. And I've debated that. That one went in Edmonton's favor, but I don't think that minimal really impacts the play at all. So is that one they'd change in the future? Like, I don't think you can put a lid on it and throw it back in the cupboard and say, wow, we're not going to. Now, I guess you could if you said, hey, we will only review in real time. If we can see it in real time on a review, no problem. Otherwise, play on. And, because you're getting to see things that the officials simply cannot see. And if they can't see it in real time, how can the players? So, I don't know. Even if Barkov scores, can we say for sure that Florida would have come back in that game? Remember, the game they lost 8-1, they made it 2-1. What happened? Then they gave up 6 more goals. So, what ifs, shoulda, coulda, woulda, to me, it doesn't matter. The Oilers were the better team in game 6, and all they have to do is be the better team for one more game. Just one. Right? Like, the fact they've won 3 in a row now, all that's done is put them in a position to win 1. And that's it. So we'll find out. So, hey, guys, you need to waive a player before a buyout. Buyout window is Wednesday night. Can we expect players on waivers tomorrow? Draft is so close. Yeah, if anybody who's considering a buyout would be put on waivers tomorrow, yes, and then they would clear, and away you go. So now the only player in the Oilers organization that I see that being plausible is Jack Campbell, right? So that's it. I don't see anyone else in the Oilers that would do it. Now, there are going to be some players that they could, like I said, they could win the Stanley Cup tonight. They'll have a celebration probably with the players. How many days is it going to last? 4 or 5? It should, right? It should. And by next Monday, like, Warren Fogle could be in another team. He's a free agent, right? Vincent Desharnais, Connor Brown, right? So we'll see what happens. And that's just the NHL. Originally, they sent out a schedule where the final game was supposed to be last Friday. And if it was last Friday, you know what? That's a week before the draft. Okay, the players aren't going to the draft anyway. Management, whatever. They're not the young guys playing. They're not going to be rock stars partying for 4 or 5 days, right? But you want to enjoy it with your family and the organization for a day or two, right? You win it on the Friday if that's the last game. You have Saturday, you have Sunday. You probably have, no one ever has a parade in the weekend, so you'd have the parade today, and then away you go. And, they fly in on Wednesday like they normally do. It wouldn't be a big deal. But this just seems, and I've had 2 managers from teams outside of this series that say they think it's really unfortunate for whoever wins tonight isn't going to be able to really enjoy it and not work and just kind of put your feet up on the table and, say, whew, all the work. And remember this move and that decision and this decision. Because there's, who knows, or you know what, there might have been some of the Oilers were close to trading and they didn't trade him. Right? Like, you can play the what if game all day long. They might have traded, everybody was like, they need Chris Tanev. They need Chris Tanev. Yeah, sure. Is Chris Tanev a better defender than Cody Ceci? Yes. Now, does he score goals like Cody Ceci? No. He doesn't have a shot like Ceci. So would it have been better? Remember, Ceci, who scored that huge goal in Game 7 against Vancouver, right? Like, you'll never know if bringing in that other piece would have actually led to this moment. All we know for certain is that this group has made it to the Stanley Cup final in Game 7. Now we'll see if they can win. It's going to be a heck of a ride. So get ready, buckle up, enjoy it, because you are 3 hours and 20 minutes away from probably one of the more stress-filled, emotional highs and lows games that you've experienced in a long time. If you thought Game 6 was nerve-wracking, or Game 5, or Game 4, or even Game 7 against Vancouver, it was. But just be prepared. It'll be ratcheted up even more tonight. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice, where you can try the cookies and cream booster ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Download the Booster Rewards app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
It's finally here. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals goes tonight at 6:20 down in Sunrise. Oilers-Panthers series tied at 3 games apiece. Veteran forward Kyle Okposo will draw back into the lineup for the Panthers with Nick Cousins coming back out. Cousins obviously took his spot for game number 6. In the majors, Blue Jays in action. They'll start a series against the Boston Red Sox. First pitch set for 5:10 out at Fenway. You also got the Mariners in Tampa, Tigers hosting the Phillies, Braves in St. Louis, and the Brewers taking on the Rangers. Euro 2024, heck of a game as Croatia and Italy drawing at 1 apiece. Italy scoring in the 98th minute to tie this one up. The other game had Spain knocking off Albania 1-0. Copa America tonight, Paraguay takes on Colombia. That gets going in just over an hour. Then at 7 o'clock, you got Brazil and Costa Rica meeting at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. And from the association, Scotty Barnes had to sign a 5-year rookie max extension with the Toronto Raptors. According to ESPN, the deal will be worth up to $270 million, making Barnes the highest paid player in team history. It will not be made official until July 6th, and Barnes will play out the 2024-2025 season on his rookie contract, meaning the new 5-year deal kicks in the following season and will run through 2030. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be talking more Oilers and Panthers. Also, we'll be joined by Mike Commodore, former Stanley Cup champion. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds, recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for over 25 years, bringing you innovative solutions for unconventional problems. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. When you need to haul the largest machinery on the planet, they can do it with a premium engineered heavy haul trailer made right here in Alberta. They're 100% family owned, treating you like part of the family. Trust the experts at AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our biggest sale of the year. This month, every new and used vehicle we have has been marked down and priced to sell. We have Ram trucks that are 25% off, brand new trucks, and we have hundreds to choose from. We have 0% financing up to 72 months on Grand Cherokee. Even though we know our prices are great, every single offer will be considered. We will work to get you the best financing terms. We will pay top dollar for your trade. We will do what it takes to earn your business. It's our biggest sale of the year, and it's on now at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Stanley.
Lift into summer
You should
with
be the
Murray's
first.
Truck Parts Locators. He has the parts knowledge like no other. Murray knows where to find what you need and get them fast with competitive pricing. That's Murray's promise. For truck inspections, hunter wheel alignments, and repairs that make your engine purr, call Murray at 780-678-2128. Murray's Truck Parts Locators for your truck parts and repairs. Located just minutes west of Camrose in Irvik Subdivision.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Well, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, as always presented by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. And hey, the Oilers slight underdog right now. Playalberta.ca. So use the promo code Gregor50. It's your last time. Might as well use it. Gregor50. That's 50. We'll get you a $50 free play with a minimum $5 deposit at playalberta.ca. Good luck. We got loads of text. Oh, this one just makes me chuckle. Hey, Jason, I just finished getting my vasectomy done about a half hour ago. Doctor and I, all we were talking about was the orders throughout the whole procedure. I'm grabbing an ice pack and heading to the brew house tonight for an epic game that will change history. Go Oilers from Trailer Park Ryan. Well, you know what, man? Hey, if you have a good doc for the V, I remember I got mine done at noon on a Friday, did the show and had no issues really. And so hopefully it works. But I also, I don't recall having any alcohol that day. So that might be something to watch for. We'll see. Hey guys, is Bobrovsky out tonight? No. From Boss Hog. No, they gave him a day off of practice yesterday. Right? Just a full day off to rest. He's been taking a ton of shots. Did he really need to go through the motions on a practice yesterday? No, but Sergei Bobrovsky will be in goal tonight for the Florida Panthers. The only lineup change for the Panthers, Mr. Okposo will be out of the lineup. And hey, let's get to the lineup report brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, your one-stop shop for everything you need. The fishing rods and reels, tackle and boat accessories to motorcycle gear, water sports accessories to e-bikes. Find more at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. And the Edmonton Oilers lineup, it is status quo, boys and girls. McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Fogle and Holloway. You have Henrique Brown and Janmark, who have just been great in this series. McLeod, Perry, and Derek Ryan on the back end. Ekholm and Bouchard, Nurse and Broberg, Kulak and Cody Ceci. Stuart Skinner will get the start. Stuart Skinner this year in the postseason in games 4, 5, 6, and 7 is a combined 10-0 with a .943 save percentage and a 1.40 goals against average. And they will look for Skinner to continue his stellar play for one more game. And then the kid who was born in Edmonton, played his minor hockey growing up in Edmonton, was drafted in the 3rd round by the Edmonton Oilers, could be a Stanley Cup champion with a victory tonight. And for all those who worried about the Oilers developing homegrown talent in goal, that's one that's, hey, you know what? It didn't get off to the easiest of start because it's hard, man. The playoffs are hard. And Stuart Skinner, like a lot of young rookies, struggled his first year in. Even had a few tough first 3 games against Vancouver. Then the coach let him rest, let him mentally refocus, and came back, and he was great. In games 6 and 7 against Vancouver and through the Dallas series, only had 1 game where he allowed more than 2 goals. And now here, really the only gaffe that Skinner's made in the final was misplaying the puck behind the net. I don't think anyone's really been remotely concerned about any of the goals that have gone in. He's played really well. And that's, to me, is a good sign for Skinner and the Edmonton Oilers. So meanwhile, the Panthers, they will stick. I mentioned Okposo is the one lineup change for them on their fourth line, and he will draw back in. Nick Cousins will come out. He'll play with Stenlund and Lomberg. They'll have Lundell with Tarasenko and Vosterinen, Bennett's with Kachuk and Evan Rodrigue, Verhaeghe, Barker, and Reinhardt. On the back end, it's Forsling and Ekblad, Mikkola and Montour, and then Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I think he's been their best defenseman for the last few games, and Dmitry Kulikov, and of course Sergei Bobrovsky will be getting the start in goal tonight for the Florida Panthers. And guys, any chance you have any watch party tickets to give away or sell from Karsten? Sorry, my man, we do not. Those things they're hard to come by as tickets to the game tonight. So I know a few people have been texted in. They just found out they got tickets from work or wherever else, and they're going to the game. So enjoy it, but doesn't look like there's any available. They're hard to come by. Like, think about how many people want to be in the building tonight. Not only in the building in Florida, but in the building in Edmonton, which is, it just shows you everything you need to know about the fans. Now let's get to Zach Hyman. And I asked him earlier today, because we've heard a lot about, the people that have doubted the orders, and there's been some, and that's fair. And you can be motivation, but I asked, what does he say to those who have supported him and his teammates?
Thank you, first and foremost, obviously. We're nowhere without the fans, and we have unbelievable, passionate fans. You saw it in Game 6, the energy, and I think even more impressive in Game 4 when we're down 0-3, and they were as loud as could be with the belief. And you flash back to even November when probably the rest of the league counted us out. We still had fans who came to game, supported us, really believed that, we were a good team and that we could come out of it. So we've got incredible fans, and we're extremely fortunate, and it'll be amazing to see how many show up tonight.
Well, yeah, I think there'll be quite a few, Cons. The other thing I want to get to as well was Hyman and Ekholm. They had some very interesting questions today. It's not like you can break down the game that much more. We've talked a lot about the game.
Yes, that kind of.
But we'll get to Ekholm and Hyman here right away. Just talking about first of all the pressure of Game 7 from Ekholm's perspective, and does he approach it anything different? Because now you can win the cup, is where the previous games in this series you were just trying to get in a position to win the cup.
I can only speak for myself, but I'm approaching it the way I approached Game 4 down 0-3. Like we have been in this position now for, 3 straight. This will be the 4th straight game. So for us, nothing changes. And I think if you blow this game up in your mind, you're just going to be nervous and not play your game. So boring answer, but I'm trying to approach this as a game in February where I guess maybe you don't have the headlights on this spot as much, but just kind of do your normal routine. And I'm going to go have my pregame meal. I'm going to take a nap and come back ready to go. And hopefully we'll be able to come out on the winning side tonight.
Zach, anything to add to that? Sure. It's our 6th elimination game. So we're used to being in this position. Obviously, it's the first time we have the ability to win, right? Which is an amazing opportunity, but all those games you play as if it's a Game 7 because it's your last game of the season. So just treat it the same.
You've had several Game 7s here in terms of losing, you were going home. Mm-hmm. Does that make you better at this?
Yes and no. Like, I think we had an actual Game 7 against Vancouver where both teams are, it's a Game 7. Somebody's going home. So yeah, I think we've had experience in these moments, and obviously today's another animal. But you like to think that your experience will help you in those moments.
Matthias, as a boy growing up in Sweden, when did the Stanley Cup kind of hit your radar, and what was your first memory of that championship series and something that you obviously wanted to strive for?
Great question. I don't even know if I remember clearly because it comes in later, obviously, because games are at 2 a.m. in the morning. We didn't have any social media back when I was growing up. And it was just, I think we had a weekly show where it was like a half-hour thing where they showed highlights from the NHL. But other than that, I didn't even know barely what it was. It was a video game, actually. It was kind of the thing that started to play that when I was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old maybe, and you could win this trophy. So I would say around then you started to obviously dream about it and think about it. But I mean, to be honest with you, I was bypassing my first draft. I wasn't really a high pick or anything like that. So to even have a realistic thought about it, it was way later in life, and probably, I don't even know, maybe I was 18, 19, something like that.
Matthias, Zach kind of had briefly touched on this, but the difference between this game 7 with, finally this chance to win the cup as opposed to the previous 3 games where, you're fighting to get to the next one. Does that mindset change at all? Or how do you kind of block out the fact that, okay, now we can win it, as opposed to keeping that same mentality with your backs against the wall?
I think to me, it's just, it adds an extra little thing to it, obviously a positive thing. So I think in our minds and in our locker room, we're just going to approach it the same way. I think that's what makes us successful as a hockey club, is taking it step by step, not get too ahead of ourselves. And I mean, at the end of the day, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's a big game. I get it. We all want to win it. Like no question about it. But there's going to be a team losing tonight, regardless of how the game goes. And just kind of, I think in my mind, you play better when you're relaxed and when you're just not too tense. So again, trying to approach it in a relaxed way, and it's a hockey game. And obviously we want to come out on the winning side, but one team is not going to do that. And hopefully they'll learn from it. But again, we're just trying to play the way we have the last 3 games. I think the way this playoff run has gone, we've had so many tough tests when it comes to game 7s earlier, or all these elimination games, and we've always risen to the occasion. So I'm just trying to I think we all lean on that experience as a group, and I really love the mindset we have in our locker room with that. So I'm confident going into it.
Hi, guys. Question for Zach. The last time a Canadian team won the cup was your 1-year-old anniversary, I believe. You've played in Canada your whole pro career. You chose to stay in Canada when you were a free agent. I was just wondering what this Stanley Cup draw means to you as a player, as a hockey fan, and what about the chance to put this to rest?
As a hockey fan, the earlier question about Matthias, I think Daniel asked it when he started thinking about the cup. As a Canadian hockey fan, it's like that one of my earliest memories is thinking about the cup as a hockey player. So I think it's embedded in our culture and who we are. Almost all, young hockey fans, like my kids will grow up, and I'm sure one of their first hockey memories will be thinking about, dreaming about winning a Stanley Cup if they choose to play hockey. So it's very much embedded in Canadian culture. And that's how I grew up. So it would mean a lot to, I think, all Canadians, regardless of if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan or not. Especially the way the series has gone. And I think we've roped a lot of people into believing in us and making it a good story. And everybody likes a good story. So, I hope we have all of Canada's support. I think I know we do, and we feel it. And it's a special opportunity we have.
Oh yeah, it's a very special opportunity that they have, and it's you know what? As with every minute that gets closer, you're 3 hours now from puck drop, 3 and a bit, to see where it goes. Con man, what's when you listen to, it was interesting to echo him. He said it really wasn't until he was 18 or 19, and then it became a big deal. Where Zach Hyman said, man, it's kind of ingrained in him as a young player in Canada, where you wanted to win the Stanley Cup. And you know what? That's why you're going to have so many kids who watch tonight, and it really strengthens their love of the game. And you watch, I guarantee you there'll be some parents whose kids are suddenly playing more mini sticks or more road hockey if the Oilers win tomorrow and through the weekend, just because, they'll look and, there'll be a Brett Kulak from Stony Plain, or a Stuart Skinner from Edmonton, or, go down the list, Nugent Hopkins from Burnaby, and, all the different places, lots of Ontario guys and Saskatchewan, and Edmonton has 17 different Canadian players on the roster. And so you'll have kids from all those areas. And then of course, Edmonton, and where, there's Oiler fans in other parts of the country that suddenly, maybe it wanes. Like I know for people that move away and, you live somewhere else for 15 or 20 years and you're still an Oiler fan, but the team wasn't doing very well. And if you're in a city and that team's okay and everybody else is a fan, you kind of find yourself at times, watching those games a little bit. But it's kind of like that first true love of your life as a sports fan. It comes back. And I think this playoff run has rekindled that for a lot of people. And it's brought in new fans who've never really cared about hockey or probably more importantly, didn't really know about it. I got this text from Sam. Hey guys, what a day in oil country. My dad, who has no idea about hockey, he's newly immigrated to Canada, is so pumped for the game. He can sense the vibe is different today all across the city. This is going to help to gain many new fans. Oilers win 4-2. Great show all season long. Appreciate it. From Sam. Well, Sam, that's awesome. Yeah, you and your dad, like think about it, just kind of it's weird, the cool bonding moments that happens in families when you watch these games together. It becomes something, more special, which is fantastic, right? I love it. I think it's great. And that's why you really hope for the fans' sake. All your loyalty for supporting a franchise that had the worst points percentage from 25 years, from 1993 until 2019. And now, 5 years later, kind of like the original 5 years, you can get rewarded and see your team hoist the cup for the first time. And you know what's funny, Cons, is how many sports fans tonight, if the Oilers win, will find themselves shedding a tear and they'll be like Seinfeld. What's this salty discharge? Oh my God, it'll be comical, right? You know what? Emotions come out for people in different ways. And there's going to be some people crying when the Oilers, if they win the cup tonight.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and just, what you're saying prior, like you just think about the kids playing on the front street with their friends. You're always going to be somebody. When we were kids, I'm Ryan Smith, I'm Doug Waite, whatever it might be. The next generation's now going to be, the Hymans, McDavid's, Draisaitls, Bouchard, Ekholm, et cetera. And they're going to have a good time doing so, and they're going to win the cup in their front lawn. But now they're going to get a chance potentially to see the team do it, which, like you say, it's just going to grow that bond, that desire, and make them want to be hockey players. And for sure, I bet you there's going to be people who never would have seen it coming. They'll be with their partner watching the game tonight, and let's say it does happen. Maybe it's the same with some Panthers fans out there. You're right. People are going to be getting emotional. There will be tears, and it's going to surprise some people. I'll say this. I'm not sure about the Oil, Gregor, but if the Chargers were to ever win the Super Bowl, probably won't happen. I might shed a tear or two. So I would not be judging. I would totally understand any Oilers fans get a little emotional, and maybe they call some loved ones and share that moment.
Oh, God, yeah. No reason to be embarrassed about it. Show your emotions. Have some fun with it, fans. 833-401-1440. We've done it a few times. I just want to know who is going to be the game-winning goal scorer tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. What's your score? Who's the game-winning goal? 833-401-1440. We'll get to that. We'll talk about the excitement and the pressures of Game 7 and more on the guy who's lost one and won one. Being on both sides of the Game 7 euphoria and disappointment. It's coming up next. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live in Florida for Game 7, courtesy of On the Rocks. Jasper having 118th, and hey, they sent me some pictures already, man. Fans are lying. They're already down there, man. So if you want to go, plan ahead, call your buddies who's going, say, get down there, get us a good seat. Because, I tell you, the longer you wait, the less chance you have of having a great seat. Now, there's lots of great seats, but you want to get some of the best ones at OTR.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option.
Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Elk Island rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Your business is unique. It has its own challenges and its own risks. Does your commercial insurance reflect that? At High Street Insurance, we believe in a personalized approach. As an independent broker, we take the time to create a partnership with you. We get to know your business and ensure that your insurance coverage is specifically designed to protect what matters to you. Insurance that's dependable, transparent, and tailored to suit your unique needs. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
Continue on. Sports 1440. Cons, I didn't hear your update. Did I miss it? Did I miss your liner coming back? I don't know what happened, but
I read it great.
Oh, okay. You must have muted me. I didn't hear it. I was waiting. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? But there we go. So maybe I hit the mute button somehow. Wouldn't be the first time that I did something off. So welcome back, everyone. You're under 3 hours to puck drop for Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. This is the third time in franchise history the Oilers have been in a Game 7. Both times the score ended 3-1. 1987, the Oilers gave up the first goal, then stormed back to defeat the Flyers 3-1 on home ice. And in 2006, Aaron Ward scored early, and the Carolina Hurricanes were able to hold off the Oilers and win 3-1. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by The JPHL, it's the Junior Prospects Hockey League, which is an academy-style approach for U14, U15, and U18 players with a focus on skill development and education. Learn more at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com. And we are joined now by a gentleman who knows the pain of losing a Game 7 and also the euphoria of winning a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final. He lost it with the Flames in 2004 and then won it with the Hurricanes in 2006. Good friend of the show, Mike Commodore, joins us again. Commie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. What's going on in Edmonton today?
Oh, wow.
Everybody's a little fired up, I would imagine.
Geez. Commie, I know you never shied away from a party. I thought you might have just strolled in and go visit Mum in Fort Saskatchewan and then wheel downtown because it's going to be a hopping place tonight.
Yeah, I know. I did think about it. We had a couple guys. I'm still down here in Arizona. I got a dog now, a puppy, so I'm a little bit tied down. I can't just bolt like I usually do. But we had a couple guys and we're thinking about trying to mix up some anyways, it was in the discussion, but it never ended up working out. So next time.
Now, as somebody who has played in Stanley Cup Final Game 7s and been on both sides of it, Mike, like just how gut-wrenching it is to lose and then obviously how unbelievable it is to win. How do you watch a game like tonight? Like, do you remember 04 or 06 both as the game, like as you lead up to this? Kind of how is it for a guy who's one of the few on the planet who's been in both situations?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could say I was, there was two games. I'll give myself I was part of 1.5 of them. For me, there was a big difference just on a personal level. In Calgary, I was scratched. So I was out 5, 6, and 7. So I was there, don't get me wrong. I was into it. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I actually think I was probably more nervous and my, kind of on edge for the 04 one than I was the 06, just for the simple fact. I mean, I had about as much to do with that 04 game as I got to do with tonight's game, which is basically zero. I was there in the rink and I was watching the game on TV just like pretty much everybody else. So, I mean, which doesn't, it sucked. There wasn't much. I do remember walking into that dressing room after the game was over and, just like any team that goes to the finals, you just had a hell of a run, but it's no fun being around guys that are crying and, you're lucky to get there once. You don't know if it's ever going to happen again. So, I mean, and in 2006, obviously I was a way bigger part of that, playing all the time. And, that was a little bit nerve wracking, but I can't say in 2006, I wasn't nervous. I wouldn't say that. Not because I thought I was super confident we were going to win. I knew we had a good team, but so did the Oilers. I just think that playing, I wasn't nervous. I was more excited than anything. I wanted to get the game started. I wanted to get going. And obviously it worked out in our favor. So that part was great. But yeah, I just really tried to, honestly, I just tried to focus on myself. I'm like, hey, I am going to give it my best effort, whatever my best effort is. That doesn't mean I'm not going down and trying to score goals or do anything that I don't do. I am going to play as hard as I can in my role. I'm going to be as focused as I possibly be. And if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging. And that's the kind of mentality I took.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, what about in 06, you're playing, it's the afternoon. Were you able to nap? Were you too nervous? Are you too excited maybe? How was the hours leading up to the game?
Yeah, I usually nap for a couple hours. Yeah, I tried to keep it as normal as possible. I would say the night before I slept. I mean, I wouldn't say it was the greatest sleep I ever got my nights, but I mean, it wasn't awful. I wasn't laying in bed staring up at the ceiling. And then before the game, I don't think I got a full 2 hours in, but I did get a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely a little bit nervous, but I like I said, it was more excited. I mean, I had to make one of the worst, or not worst, so one of the hardest calls for me personally that year. My parents were living in Sherwood Park, so they went to all the Oilers games. My dad came to Game 5 in Raleigh, and we were up 3-1 with a chance to close it out overtime. My dad was there for that game. And we lose. So we're back to Edmonton, and both my parents come to that game. And then we lose. We get just smoked in Game 6. Anybody there remembers? I mean, we got tattooed and worse than the Florida got beat a couple nights ago. And the hardest decision I had to make, obviously my parents wanted to be there and whatnot, and they wanted to come down. And I had to tell them, I said, Mom and Dad, please don't take this the wrong way. But I'm like, I'm going to do things how I've always done them, and I've done them on my own. I go, if we win, I would love for you guys to be there. But I go, if it doesn't work out, I go, I'm not going to want to see anybody for a while. I'm like, I just want to do things how I always do, and that's solo. Please don't take it the wrong way. And my parents were great. Like, they were both like, hey, we get it. Like, hey, good luck, have fun, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it was awesome until we actually won. And then out on the ice, everybody brought like their aunt, uncle, mom, dad, cousins. They had to change a rule after that night because there was too many people on the ice. After that, it kind of sucked because I'm like, man, it would be kind of nice if they were there. But anyways, it worked out, and that was the important thing.
And I don't even think you had FaceTime back then, but you must have had a cell, so you probably had him on the phone at least right after.
I did, yeah. There was no FaceTime back then, but did have a cell phone. We were out on the ice, and that went on for a little while or whatever. And then probably, after my turn with the cup and the pictures and kind of just taking it all in, I ran in quick before we went into the room and started hammering beers. I did have somebody run my cell phone out, and I called them from the ice, and I just said, hey, I just want to thank you guys, and I love you a lot, and thank you very much for everything. I wish you guys were here. And yeah, they were great. Obviously, looking back, if I would have had a crystal ball and if I knew we were going to win that game, I would have rolled out the red carpet for them. But looking back, for me, it was the right decision.
Mike Commodore joins us. So, Mike, when you're on the ice and you guys had won and you're waiting for your turn to get the cup, do you remember kind of like, are you thinking like, are you a guy who's thinking back to young days and, playing on the street and thinking or are you just kind of watching the other guys and like, oh my God, there's Corey Stillman, there's all these guys lifting the cup and Doug Wade. How was it for you when you were standing kind of just watching everybody waiting for your turn to hoist the cup?
Yeah, I would say I kind of split my time in between like taking it in with the fans, and obviously nobody had left. They had been standing all game. They were all still cheering and, cheering when different guys raised the cup, and obviously Rod and Glenn. I would say for me personally, and I'm not saying this just because to sound like, for me it was obviously my moment with it was awesome, but it was really fun watching the older guys and your Rod Brindamores. To be honest, I spent a little part of that crying. I grew up outside Edmonton and watched the Oilers, and one guy that I remember watching all the time was Doug Wade. And, Doug couldn't play the last couple games because of his shoulder. And, he came out on the ice with his gear on. And I'll tell you what, and I knew his shoulder was messed up. He wanted to play for Game 7. Like, he was out there. Like, it was painfully obvious that, like, I don't care what we shoot in your shoulder, Doug. Like, your shoulder's done. Like, it just isn't going to work. And that killed him, obviously. And for him to come up, that's the one I remember the most out of all of them, because I was watching him like a hawk. Because I'm like, A, it's Doug Wade for me. B, I knew, like, I was like, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to lift 30 pounds over his head. Like, I don't think so. And then to watch him do it, that was the one big takeaway from being on the ice. I always remember wiping my eyes because I was crying for Doug because I was very, very happy for him.
Yeah, it's Mike Commodore joins. That's a great story, I think, because it must have been hard. Like, you grow up as a kid and you're a big Oilers fan, but maybe it's different because once you're in the NHL, now it's your job, and you end up playing at Calgary, and obviously Calgary and the Oilers hate each other. So was it easy to lose being a fan of the Oilers, or is there always still a small part of you that's a little bit of an Oilers fan?
I mean, I am a little bit of like, look, there's a couple things. I did cheer for the Oilers, but there was a couple things that went into it. But at that time, I had already played for the Flames, so that kind of chipped away very significantly at my Oiler fandom. And I will say, like, as a kid, I cheered for. I can't say that I didn't root hard for one team, but a tendency for me as a kid is I always kind of cheered for the underdog team. So, like, growing up in the 80s, the Oilers dominated everything. I mean, obviously the Flames had their day in 89, and they had really good teams too. But, the Oilers were dominating. So I was a Flames fan as well. So, yeah, for me, it wasn't like, for Ray Whitney, it would have been more, right? Because Ray grew up in Fort Saskatchewan as well, was a diehard Oilers fan, played for the Oilers a little bit until they piped him to Florida. He was a stick boy. His dad was the backup, the practice goalie. So I think Ray had to swallow a lot of that. For me, it was already pretty much gone. So for me, it was like, I mean, it worked out great because, it worked out great in one sense in that obviously it was going back home. So I was fired up for that, getting to play. I mean, getting to play a Stanley Cup final against the Edmonton Oilers where I'm from. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I couldn't wait for the series to start it. But then B, on the other side, I will say my grand profit from those 2006 playoffs was probably about negative 20,000 after all the tickets I ended up buying in Edmonton. So it was great. Like, I had a lot of fun doing it, but I didn't say no to any of my buddies. Whatever tickets were available to the team, I bought once everybody else had kind of picked at them. So yeah, it put a pounding on my pocketbook. I will say that.
Oh God, yeah, I can imagine, right? You're thinking 3-1. Oh, we win in 5. I don't have to go back to Edmonton today. We win, and B, it saves me a lot of money because yeah, that Game 6 one was a drubbing by the Oilers. That Aaron Ward on back, and he was just like, oh my God, we had to burn the tape. You want to forget it as quick as you can. And you did. I want to get your thoughts on this series. Like, you guys lost 2 games in a row, but were able to come back and win. And when you'd won your first 3 games, you had won, and 2 of those games, like, you dominated and were full marks for it.
Yeah.
Florida, when they were up 3-0, Mike, like, Bobrovsky played great, but they really only played really good and dominated game 2. And then they got spanked in game 4, that they were down 3-0 in both games 5 and game 6. How do you think their mental output is, going into this game? Is it easy to forget that, or do you think there's a little bit of doubt? Like, because Edmonton's a faster team than Florida. I think we've all seen that in the series. Like, what's the mindset of the Panthers heading into tonight, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I think if I was there, or if I was the coach or whatever, or if I was a player on that team, I think there has to be some doubt. This has been obviously a very interesting series, to put it mildly. I would say, you're up 3-0. Like you said, you're not dominating everything, but you're up 3-0 is 3-0. You lose pretty good in games 4, but at the end of the day, it's like, hey, okay. To be honest, I thought when the Oilers started really drubbing them, I was like, I don't know if you want to beat them. I just had, you guys drubbed us so bad in 2006, and I actually think that played in our advantage. So when it was 8-1, I'm like, man, I think that's too many goals. But whatever, win game 5, win game 6. Yeah, if I'm Florida, there's some doubt. If I'm playing for the Florida Panthers, I am doing my absolute best to just focus on one thing, and that's, hey, we played hard all year to get home ice. You give us 3-3 in the finals. We're at home. It's game 7. We got to win one game. I would be focusing on that, and I would just try and flush everything else out. That would be what I'm doing. And if I'm playing for the Oilers, I mean, I'm feeling really good about myself right now. Hey, we are on a heater here. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. My only thing with the Oilers would be, this will be the first now game where, they can, obviously somebody's winning tonight, right? Either Edmonton or Florida. So that'll be maybe, for a couple of the guys, you don't want to start thinking about that. I will, you start thinking about, don't get too far, try and not think about that whatsoever. But yeah, the Oilers are in a good position. There's no doubt.
When you were up 3-1 and it's game 5 at home, Mike, and you wake up that morning, is it hard to block out I could win the Stanley Cup tonight? Like, that's what your whole dream, your whole life was. And now you're actually there. It's not like you can touch it. It's so close. Like, was that hard at all in game 5?
You know what? There was a little bit for me, but I kind of went back to 2004. In 2004, we were up 3-2. Now, granted, I played the first 4. Now I'm in the press box. But what I kept going back in 2004, we're up 3-2. We're playing at home game 6. We got a chance to win. I'm not in the lineup. I'm not playing. So me and Brennan Evans, another Edmonton area guy, we're not playing. We're out. Our playoffs is pretty much over. And I remember us hanging out at the hotel, and I remember going to Brennan. I go, we're going to wrap this thing up tonight. I go, let's go get some cigars and let's put some drinks in the room. So that's what we did in the afternoon. I'll never forget doing that. Then we lose game 6, lose game 7. Now, we didn't have anything to do with it, but I remembered that 2 years later because I'm like, you know what? Although I had nothing to do with the game, I'm not thinking like that. I'm like, I'm going to try and block that out. I mean, sure, maybe a little bit of it creeps in, but I tried to shut that down immediately and be like, look, this thing, I know it's, popular saying that the last game is the hardest to close out, but it's true. And obviously Florida is finding this out firsthand. So for me, it wasn't too bad because I'd already kind of made that mistake.
Yeah. And I want to get your thoughts, Mike, as a guy who played in the league as long as you have. You played, with and against some of the best players in the world. And you see what Connor McDavid has done in this year's postseason. Breaks Gretzky's assist record, for God's sakes. He's got 42 points. Only Gretzky and Lemieux have had 42 points in the postseason. Like, as a former player, do you kind of sit back and be like, what's going on here? Like, a guy shouldn't be able to dominate at that level in the best league in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing. I mean, we've all known it, but this is another, a step in his legacy, so to speak. No matter how tonight works, obviously, if it works out where he wins, that definitely helps. But it's been, I never played against him. I'll go ahead and say it. Thank God. I have a feeling he would have been wheeling around me. I would have been getting off the ice immediately. But yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you come close to any kind of record where the name Wayne Gretzky is involved in, let alone breaking it, you're doing something extremely special. It was very impressive on how, he was kind of quiet at first, for him or, whatever, wasn't racking up the points. And then all of a sudden it's like, here we go. And what was it? 4 and 5, he's got 4 points in both games and, making plays that only Connor McDavid can make. And yeah, it's very impressive. And I would say, it's impressive what he does. And this isn't a shot at any of the guys from back in the day, or not at all. But everybody out there can skate. You know what I mean? Everybody out there can handle the puck a little bit, and it's even the 5-6 defensemen. They can all move pretty good, and it doesn't matter to him who's out there on the ice. At any point, he could do something spectacular and make somebody look foolish, make excellent hockey players look foolish. So yeah, it's as a fan and watching on TV, it's very, very fun to watch.
And lastly, Mike, as a former, are you always do you make sure you watch the Cup final every year of who's in it, or do certain finals grab your attention more than others? And how do you approach this game tonight?
For me, I would say, because of the Alberta connection, and I do spend time in Calgary, and I see some of the alumni, and I go to some Oiler games, and I spend a pretty good amount of time in Alberta. So I would say, my interest is piqued more because of that. I definitely other than the 3-4 years after I retired when I was pissed off and I didn't watch any hockey. I mean, those days are long behind me. I enjoy watching it now. I'm definitely back into it. So I make a point to watch it. But I will say, before this series, even started, because the Oilers are in it, it definitely piqued my interest, and I've made sure I've watched all of it. And then now, especially with how the series has gone, down 3-0, and now it's back to 3-3 in Game 7, and it's definitely a lot of drama. And you know what? I'm down here in Arizona, in the United States, and hockey's hockey in Canada. We all know that, and in certain parts of the United States, it's like Canada. There's no doubt about it. But I'll tell you what, I'm down here in Arizona where, hockey by no means is a big thing. It'll be interesting to see what the viewership numbers are in the U.S. because just from me, walking around, and it's not like anybody here knows that, the few people that do know that I played or, see the Cup tattooed on my leg, they're asking, they're like, hey, you watching? So it's cool to see what this series, and it's not like the Rangers in Boston or any of the big, this is Florida and Edmonton. It's not like these are massive, massive U.S. markets. So it's fun to see. It's great to see what they've done in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Mike, as always, man, we appreciate it. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Enjoy the game, fellas.
There you go. That is Mike Commodore, man. Beauty of a guy. Really well spoken. I love this story about, just getting a little tear in his eye, seeing a guy like Doug Waite. And you know what? Imagine that's a tough decision to have to tell your parents, hey, you know what? I want to do it kind of what I've always done. And you have to respect that as a parent, right? And then, of course, when you win, you're like, God, I wish you could be here, right? So, you know what? I think most of the families are here. There was one or two I talked to that earlier, like Philip Broberg's parents were here, then they went back, and I know he did mention they thought he was going to make sure they come back for the final. So I think they're there. I know they had a whole plane full of family coming to Florida here for Game 7, and like the fans, they've traveled well. So it'll be loud. You will notice if you're watching the broadcast tonight. There's a significant amount of order. I think there's going to be 5,000. That's my guess. Obviously, I'm not going to count everyone, but you can kind of get a decent ballpark figure of how many will be there. And if they win, you'll probably have a better sense because then they'll all be cramming down into the lower bowl to watch the celebration as the Oilers hoist the Stanley Cup. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. You can always text us 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox, 833-401-1440. Of course, welcome to normally we're in the E-Well studio, and of course, E-Well is it's your power play to shop at ewell.ca for all of your electrical needs online 24/7 at ewel.ca. We'll come back. We'll get more from the Edmonton Oilers. We'll hear from kind of the mental aspect of the Oilers and what George Mumford has really made a difference with the players. We'll get to that and more as the countdown to Game 7 inches closer with every minute.
The Stanley Cup playoff. Sports 1440 has got you covered.
It's been a hell of a story so far, but I'm just really proud of the way, we gave ourselves a chance.
Winner take all Stanley Cup final Game 7. For all things Stanley, there's only one sports station in town. Sports 1540.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Legacy Heating and Cooling Jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit edmontonkubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Andy Ocal at Weird Pearson Ocal & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Ocal & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com. Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing Dr. Vance Elliott for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
For over 65 years, Dedham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And that tradition continues with the all-new 2024 F-150. Lease one today with $1,000 down and pay just $299 bi-weekly, taxes included. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. The F-150 $299 driveway lease, only at Dedham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at dedhamford.ca.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by High Street Insurance, driven by people, not products. We are people taking care of people for 10 years, servicing Canadian businesses like yours. HighStreetInsurance.com.
Runs, get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. It is Monday, but it feels like a positive Friday for Oiler fans. You're excited. You're fired up as it is just over 2.5 hours to puck drop for Game 7. And man, I can hear the hooting and hollering. There's obviously some Oiler fans in our hotel here in Fort Lauderdale. We're here courtesy of On the Rocks and Jasper Avenue 118. Hey, if you're going, you know what, get down there. They are going to have a standing room only. And here's kind of cool thing. So On the Rocks, actually, this is 18 years. They opened up in June of 2006. And they opened up there was 4 games left in the Stanley Cup playoffs that year. They didn't open up for that. That was just their time. And they obviously wanted to open earlier, but never did. And so they did have 4 playoff game watch parties that year. And you know what? It's 18 years for their next year, because a lot of people after 06 were like, hey, the Oilers will get back there. And obviously everybody knows what happened for the next decade. It did not work out. And here they are. It's 18 years later. And once again, they're on the road for a Game 7. But I think there's a lot of people in Edmonton that feel there's a very good chance the outcome will be different. There's no guarantee. That's what makes it so nerve-wracking for you. Most of you believe the Oilers are going to win, but there's the chance they might not. And that's what makes it nerve-wracking, exciting, probably all wrapped up in one, which is outstanding. And Cons, where are you watching the game tonight?
I just got to keep doing what I have been doing, Gregor. Head home, watch it in the basement, and keep things kind of even keel. How about you? Going to the game?
Well, I'll be in the game. Yeah. Do you think I came to Florida to sit on a patio? No, I'll be in the rink. I'll watch the game, part of it from the press box, and then there's a group of a few groups of Edmontonians who purchased a suite and invited me to come watch a period with them. So to kind of, because to me, when I want to write stories about it, it's good to get a real sense of kind of how it is and what's going on amongst Oiler fans. Especially if, I think I might, depend on how the game goes, but I think if the game doesn't look like it's in doubt with 10 minutes to go, I probably would go back in there and just kind of, get some streeter interviews, the old streeters, and kind of just get a sense of, what it means. Because every fan has a different reason for it, right? Like we talked about it earlier, how I think there'll be some fans who get emotional after the game, and they might not even know they'll get emotional, but there has been some people out there that will have lost a brother, a mother, a father, a sister, a good friend who was like a diehard Oilers fan, right? Obviously, a lot of people know Ben Stelter, but there's thousands of people that have lost loved ones who, you probably had a tradition. Maybe you went to lots of games with. I met a guy last night who him and his mother, his mom's 80, and their dad passed away in April. And they were huge fans. They used to watch it all the time. And so after Game 6, the son called his mom and said, "We're going to Florida. I don't care. And we're getting some tickets." And they're kind of going to celebrate him, which is, pretty cool. And I'm sure if they win, they'll be sitting there really excited, but also probably a little sad because they're missing, their dad and her husband. And so there's lots of stories like that out there. And so that's what makes tonight the difference, obviously, between winning and losing, right? 06 run is still something that fans that were there remember it. It was like a great 2 months. It just had had an unfortunate ending. And so it's not as good. It's still very good. The one game doesn't erase all the good times they had. People will still laugh and remember lots of the good moments they had. But if you win, it's just every good moment gets magnified. And so, you know what? There'll be lots of people tonight, I think, Cons. And, the only thing, there'll be lots of people who get excited and, probably a few that are maybe a little too intoxicated or whatever. Just remember, if the Oilers win or lose, Edmonton has a reputation of being a pretty smart city. So, you know what? If you see anybody that looks like they're getting out of hand, just remind them, hey, we don't do that in Edmonton. Right? And yeah, you can have a good time. I've seen the pictures and the videos already. Like, do you see the moss pit lineup, Cons?
Oh, yeah. It is crazy.
It is ridiculous. Like, if you're going to the moss pit now, like, good luck to get in. Like, oh my God. Like, that thing is wrapped around. It's like deep, the lineup there. So, and I think it opens up here in about 15 minutes time, or maybe it's 4:00 when they finally allow it in. And that's going to be a gong show. And there's a lot of young fans. That's their first time really experiencing the excitement of a playoff run. So I hope everybody has fun, and just remember to be smart when it's all said and done. And let's not overreact. If you see one or two bad things, a small minority does not represent the majority. Let's always remember that, just on the off chance. There'll probably be some, you can't have 100% smart, unfortunately. We wish we could, but it doesn't always work that way. So we'll see. We'll have a diehard fan joining us next. Also, Craig McTavish. We'll get into, a little bit of X and O's with Mac T and what he's seen in these games. And, is there any tactical change, small, that Edmonton should even consider making? Or is it more so just going to be reacting to what Florida might try to do different? Because we heard it from Paul Maurice after Game 6. He didn't like, they got to play faster. He thought even when they played fast, they got boxed into corners, which obviously to me means Edmonton's doing things very well. So we'll get to all of that in the next hour. We still have Kevin Woodley and his scouting report coming up. I know you don't want to miss that. Looking at any opportunity to figure out how the Oilers could give a best chance to beat Bobrovsky. Let's get to the Con Man, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They ensure that 100% of their vehicles owned have properly aligned wheels. Vehicle alignment extends the life of your tire, which also lowers the carbon footprint of your vehicle and reduces emissions. Learn more at Fountain Tire's ESG initiatives at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game day. It is Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, with the Oilers set to take on the Florida Panthers down in Sunrise. Puck drop 2 hours, 20 minutes away. Oilers lineup going to look the same for the Panthers. Kyle Okposo draws back into the lineup after he missed Game 6. He'll replace Nick Cousins, who took his spot originally. Major League Baseball, the Jays in action. They'll take on the Red Sox 5:10 first pitch. You've also got the Mariners in Tampa. Royals host the Marlins. Angels taking on the Athletics. Padres host the Nationals, and the Cubbies in San Francisco. Euro 2024. Spain knocked off Albania 1-0, and it was heartbreak for Croatia as they let Italy score in the 98th minute. With that, Croatia is done, and Italy will move on. Copa America tonight. Paraguay takes on Colombia. That'll get going right now. And then later tonight, 7 o'clock to be specific, you got Brazil up against Costa Rica down in Inglewood. And some news from the association. Scotty Barnes set to set a team record to become the highest paid player in franchise history. He'll sign a 5-year rookie max deal. The number, $270 million. That'll take him through the 2030 season. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Wanye Gratz of Oilers Nation, former Oilers player and coach Craig McTavish, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. This summer, lease a new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa
Because
Rocks.
you have Clark's number, right?
And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans, but for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Great savings when you book a weekday tee time. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club for an 18-hole round and get a $10 discount on your next round. Ask for details. Plus, their out-of-bounds restaurant is a must-try. CattailCrossing.ca.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Logs crackle as you toast a marshmallow to perfection. Light dances off your lustrous new Toyota. Nearby, a cricket chirps. Or a mosquito. Anyways, this moment isn't just a dream. It's an invitation to escape. So stop dreaming. Red Tag Days at Toyota are ending soon. For a limited time, lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $96 weekly for 36 months at 5.49% with $3,999.
PlayAlberta.
Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Turn the music up in the headphones. Tim, you can go and brush your shoulder off. I got you. Yeah. If you feeling like a pimp, nigga, go and brush your shoulders off. Ladies and pimps too, go and brush your shoulders off. Niggas is crazy, baby. Don't forget that boy told you, kid. Turn up your shoulders. Probably owe it to y'all. Probably be locked by the folks. Trying to hug you some bands. That go with the Porsche. Feeling no remorse.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. Professional athletes use aquatic therapy, radial shockwave, zero gravity treadmills, and pneumatic recovery devices for rehab. Leading Edge Physiotherapy offers those to you because sports should enter leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back, everyone. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Also, of course, streaming live on Twitter and Instagram. Listening live at sports1440.ca. Maybe you got the app. However you're consuming the show, I'm sure you're excited. You're nervous. Hey, the countdown. 2 hours, 15 minutes for puck drop. Game 7. For some of you, this is your first Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. It's not your first Game 7 because you saw one 2 rounds ago that the Oilers were able to defeat the Vancouver Canucks. And the big question is it another Game 7 Cody Ceci goal night for the Edmonton? Do you know that in NHL history, there's only 2 defensemen who have scored 3 Game 7 goals in their career? Brian Leetch, the last one to do it back in 1994 at the Rain. Well, not 94, but that's, in the 90s. Cody Ceci scores tonight. That will be his 3rd goal in a Game 7. Scored the game winner against the Kings in 2022. Game 7, had a huge goal against the Canucks earlier this year. Whew, that would be another just iconic, unexpected hero to think that Cody Ceci scores again. Oh my goodness. Well, honestly, if anybody who scores tonight, Order fans, they don't care. right? Honestly, they wouldn't. Then whoever your least favorite player is, he'd become your favorite player for a night if he scores. That's just how it works in Game 7. But it'll be fantastic. We are live here in Fort Lauderdale, courtesy of On the Rocks, Jasper Ave, 118th Street, to where hey, jerseys are galore, hats, T-shirts. I've had some videos sent to me from OTR. Everybody's fired up. They do have some room left to get there. There's gonna be standing room only, as I mentioned. They're celebrating 18 years tonight. You get 450 beers, also 60-cent wings. So you get down there early if you want to get a good seat, kind of relax. You know what? They can even play the show on the big screens if you like. So hey, check it out on Jasper Ave and 118th Street. As we get to the oil report now, brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And one of their big spokesmen is Matthias Ekholm. The Swedes love the Volvo. It's great quality, just like Swedes. And you can get it at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As we welcome to the show. Normally we're in studio together, but today, obviously, I'm on location in Fort Lauderdale, and he's just too nervous. Couldn't be there live. Wanya Gretz joins us. Wanya, what's happening?
Gregor, I've been wearing a bath towel since 10 a.m. Is that weird?
Well, I guess it's the only thing you're wearing. It's questionable.
It is the only thing I'm wearing. I took Wanya Jr. to school. I came home. I was like, I need to have a shower. And then the tension of the day has been so high, I've been wandering around Wanya Manor wearing only a bath towel. If this thing goes to Game 8, Gregor, I'm screwed.
Do you have, are you a superstitious fan? Do you have to watch the game in the same attire as last game?
The jerseys I run are fairly, there's reasons behind everything in my mind. But yeah, I'm pretty superstitious. I recognize I have no impact on things, though, and I'm just crazy.
So what's your reasoning? What jersey did you wear in Game 4, 5, and 6, and what are you wearing tonight?
I've got the original Connor McDavid captain's jersey that I had on his draft day, and I've never washed one. And I've been running it the whole finals every day, off days, on days, every day.
You've worn it since the 8th of June?
Yeah.
Jeez, you might have to break down. Now, if they win the cup, does that mean you can wash it?
Well, Gregor, unfortunately, if you look back in the annals of Twitter, I swore after they were down 3-0 that if the Oilers could come back and reverse sweep, I'd wear an Oilers jersey every day for 5 years. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah. What kind of idiot would make a bet based on the Oilers win or loss? Who in their right mind would ever do something like that? I can't imagine somebody being that lacking in intelligence to do it.
A bet suggests there's two sides to the transaction. That's just me and Jesus on Twitter. There's not a bet there. That's just
thing. Dude, trust me. I know it's the word. That's what makes it even dumber, because I did it earlier with the hair growth. Trust me, I was mocking myself at the same time. Where do you come out on the fact that Connor McDavid went nuclear in games 4 and 5, and then didn't play poorly by any stretch, but the Oilers scored 5 goals, granted 2 into an empty net, but McDavid didn't factor in on any of them, didn't have a shot. Do you foresee that as a real benefit, and that tonight in Game 7 is, it's hard to say a statement game when McDavid's had so many in his career, but do you feel confident that at bare minimum, 97 is for sure making an impact tonight after having a somewhat quiet Game 6?
1,000%. I don't think that Connor being held off he had no shots and no points, right? Do we honestly think Connor McDavid is going to play Game 7 of the Stanley Cup and not be the best player on the ice, except for maybe Connor Brown? I think he'll be the top of the pops tonight. At the risk of being controversial, I think the Oilers are going to win the cup tonight, Gregor.
Yeah, what's your bold prediction? What's the score? What do you think?
5-2 Oil. That's what I would say. Empty netter.
Whew. Hey, guys, tell Wanya that's nothing. I've worn the same Oilers t-shirt since Game 1 against the Kings. It's getting pretty nasty, but I'll wear it again tonight from B. See, there you go. There's a few fans that are in the same boat as you. They, I agree. I like what you said. You're like, I know it doesn't make an impact on the game, but for you, does it, doing the same thing, does it make the game? How are you a nervous fan? When you're watching the game tonight, are you going to be pacing? Can you enjoy the game? Or are you a stress case fan?
I do not enjoy the game, but this is the most important thing of my life, and to not have any impact on it is hilarious. I pace around, man. Game 6, I didn't even sit down.
You should make sure that you put on like your Fitbit or your step machine, so you make sure you're getting all those steps in, because you're not the only one. Like I talked to a guy who was at Game 6, and he was in the Lowe's area, and he had to get, and he said the whole third period he was just pacing behind his seat.
Yeah.
He couldn't watch. And I'm always kind of like, what? He goes, yeah, I don't know why. Like I just and I know him in real life. He's like one of the more laid back people I've ever met. But you get to the Order playoff game, and suddenly he's just like a stress case. It was shocking to me.
I'm happy though that it matters that much to everybody, right? I'm happy that when you see the mock pits lineup is 20,000 deep at whatever time today. I'm happy for us all, because when I talk to people about being a hockey fan, they go, "Oh, I'm not an Oilers fan. I'm a Jet fan," or "Oh, I'm not." I always say the same thing. Like, I would prefer a real fan of a real team to a fake fan of my team, right? And during the decade of darkness, we've paid for tonight with a river of tears, man. Like, there is nothing given to Oilers fans. We have hung in there, and I just want it so badly for all the Oilers and for everybody in the fans, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I wrote my article today at Oilers Nation. I recommend people listen. I got some thoughts from Zach Hyman about the fans, because for the Oilers' first 11 years, it's like the greatest 11 years of any NHL franchise in history. No one's ever going to win 5 cups, make 6 appearances in their first 11 years, right? Like, no one's done it. And like, I'm sorry, Utah's not doing it in their next 11 years. It's just too hard. And so Oilers fans were lucky. And then starting from 93, it kind of had to pay the piper. For 25 years, including the last 4 of McDavid, the Oilers had the worst points percentage of all NHL franchises for a 25-year period. But fans kept showing up. They bought tickets. They helped save the team. You had local guys buy the team. You had jerseys and hats and T-shirts and whatever else paraphernalia they bought, and showed up at games and traveled to games. And you know what? They won the lottery, and they got mocked by other fan base. Oh yeah, your team doesn't do anything. And you know what? I give Oilers fans credit. You've had to have a pretty thick skin over time, and now you reap the rewards. And I think for those who have been through it all, it's probably, I wouldn't say worth it. No one wants to go through. I'm not a big believer that you have to endure terrible pain before you can have happiness. I'm not a big believer in that, but that's really what it's been for Oilers fans. It was great. Then it was in the ditch, and now they're coming back out. And, like, you remember 2006, it was an unbelievable run, but obviously it just came up 1 game short, right? Do you remember how you felt before 06? Do you feel the same, or do you feel different tonight?
Before Game 7 or before the season?
No, before Game 7 tonight, and then in Game 7 of 06.
For sure. I remember I was watching it on Jasper Avenue at the bar that was called the Druid, right? And my Oilers Nation co-founder, Jay Downton, and I, we'd had a bar that had closed December 2005. So we just missed the cup run by 4 months. And every bar in town in 06 was printing sheets. And we had just been on the outside for 4 months. So we lent all our TVs to the Druid. And then we went down for Game 7 and watched the cup loss ultimately on our own TV. And it was one of the worst nights of my life, obviously. But to me, this is kind of the other bookend of it, right? Like everything you were going through about the history of the franchise. The other thing that I'm so proud of for Edmonton is that we're no longer considered to be a small market team. And like older Oilers fans will remember, like we used to lose guys like David Oliver to the Rangers for $100,000 routinely. And Edmonton was always kind of derided and mocked. And I felt like really after 06, when Pronger and co left, I really felt like the civic image of Edmonton took a beating unfairly, because it wasn't like they left town because they didn't like Bonnie Doon Mall. And that was ultimately what led us to starting up Oilers Nation, was wanting to be able to kind of tell the story of like, there's a lot of people in Edmonton who love the Oilers, and we also love Edmonton. And seeing how many fans there are down in Florida and traveling all around, I think Oilers fans are a master class now in the NHL. And Edmonton is a top revenue market, and all these worldwide people came to town and saw our summer city with the arena district. I think this is one of the best things to happen to Edmonton in 25 years.
How about, guess who's singing the national anthem tonight? Alanis.
Kodak Black?
No, Alanis Morissette.
Oh, man. I'm going to cry tonight, Gregor, and I haven't cried. Legit, I have not cried since the Cup final of 06. And prior to that, I had not cried since grade 6, and I'm predicting tears tonight. Win or lose.
Win or lose, but it obviously be a very different type of tears for a win or loss. Now, I know that Wanye Jr. has gone to bed early in every game. Does he get to stay up and watch the entire game tonight?
It depends on his mood. We've had a long conversation this morning while we were having breakfast about how important tonight is and winning the cup. And I showed him pictures of the Stanley Cup and we talked about it. But he and I had a pretty high intensity weekend, and little kids that are 3, as you know, Gregor, there's no sense forcing them to stay up past their expiration date. I will record it, and we can definitely sit down tomorrow. But tonight is going to be a night we're going to talk about either way in our house for the next 50 years.
No, it's true though, right? Like you think about, what it means to a lot of fans tonight if the Oilers win. Like it means something different. And it's whether it reminds them of somebody they used to watch games with and that's gone, and they'll think about them, and we've seen that. Like I remember when the Red Sox won, right? Like you had people, now granted it's a much longer time, they'd never seen it ever in their life, but there are lots of people here in Edmonton, as I said, obviously if you're 34 or under, you've never seen a Stanley Cup win, and if you're probably 44 and under, you probably don't ever remember it, right? Like maybe if you were born in 1980, you would remember it. You'd be 10 years old, so you probably would, I would think. But, if you're 6, you might think you remember, but you probably really don't. And so that's a lot of people that could experience something they've never truly felt before tonight if the Oilers win.
I remember when and I'm glad you put the age ranges there because I just snuck in as being somebody too young to remember the 90 Cup. But I really don't, right? I started paying attention to the Oilers in 1994, and I was a huge fan within hours for whatever reason. And as we know, that wasn't exactly the time of best Oilers hockey in our franchise's history. But I think a lot, too, about the Oilers fans that aren't with us tonight, too, right? Everybody that you talk to that's a big fan of the Oilers or any team, really, if you get into their origin story, they watched games with somebody early on. You will never find a super fan who's like, yep, it was just me in a room by myself. Right. So for me, it was my grandma. Right. And I used to go to Oilers games. I shoveled all the neighbors' snow and I would go to Oilers games. I bought one season ticket. My grandma was 88 and I was like 13 or whatever. And that's when we started going to Oilers games in the 90s. And I'm proud that my grandma passed away when I was 90. She passed away the Cup run, actually, of 06, just afterwards. But now I have Wanye Jr. I've built a new Oilers fan. And everybody out there that's lost an Oilers fan that now has little ones around them cheering, we've done our part, and those guys are going to remember these games 30 years from now. Like everybody in the mosh pit right now, Gregor, is going to remember the Oilers so fondly for the remainder of their adult life. They just locked in season ticket holders for a generation.
You mentioned you have the Oilers winning. Who is going to be the game-winning goal scorer for the Oilers tonight?
My heart wishes it's Connor Brown. My brain knows it's Connor McDavid.
All right. Wanye, enjoy the game. Make sure that you put on more than just a towel for the game.
Get home safe, Gregor. I know there's a lot of Oilers fans down there, and they're drinking frying pans of shooters. Come home safe to us now.
Best news we got. Our flight was originally supposed to leave at 8 a.m. tomorrow. It is now leaving at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So that's probably the best news of the day so far. Maybe that's an omen. Somebody out there is reading the tea leaves. I don't know. We'll see. Enjoy it. That's Wanye Gretz, normally our co-host, but it's obviously hard to co-host when we're both in different locations. We'll come back, and we're going to get some X and O's with Craig McTavish here on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live, courtesy of On the Rocks. Jasper Ave, 118th. Get down there. Your place to watch the game tonight. OTR. They're celebrating 18 years since they've been open. So this would be their first ever Stanley Cup party victory. Maybe you could be a part of it. Anywhere you'll be a part of it. It'll be loads of fun. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Elk Island rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st only, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals like mattresses starting at just $149.95. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Late night sports, you got it. This is Jason Smith from Fox Sports. You can hear my show weeknights from 9 to midnight on Sports 1440. Mike Harmon joins me as we talk about what happened today in the world of sports, all right here on Sports 1440.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks are bringing the Dinos back to life at Dino Days on Tuesday, June 25th. Dilly, Dally, and Chuck from TELUS World of Science will host dynamite races and more. Get your tickets to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
In Alberta, over 8,000 families with sick or injured children travel for medical care every year, and they need a place to stay together. So with your help, Ronald McDonald House is building bigger. And if the kids could build it, they would. But together, we can. Visit rmhcalbertabuild.org to donate.
Ennio and Jason are friends. Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Except when they talk hockey.
Mm-hmm. Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. The cheesy burger pizza is back. Beefy, slicey, dicey tomatoes, dilly, pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. Grab it while it's here for the summer. Only $18.99 at papajohns.ca.
On Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through as we are under 2 hours. We roll through now as we are under 2 hours away for Game 7, the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, this is your last day. Get in on it. Use the promo code Gregor50, a $5 deposit, and you'll get a $50 free play. But it ends tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. And the Oilers, slight underdog, not much, but We'll see what happens in a pivotal Game 7. Could be, legacy, career, franchise altering for one of these teams if they can pull out the victory in Game 7, which should be ecstatic and just electric. I can't wait. The atmosphere is going to be unreal. Whether you're in Florida, whether you're at the Moss Pit, whether you're at On the Rocks, whether you're at the watch party, whether you're at home, wherever you're at, everybody's going to have the same, I think, mixture of excitement and jubilation and nervousness until the puck is dropped, and then maybe you can exhale a little bit. As we get to our playoff report now, brought to you by Action Electrical, the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service, electrical preventative maintenance, and solar for both commercial and residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net. Our next guest, of course, has won multiple Stanley Cups with both the Oilers and the New York Rangers. As a player, was a coach, of course, in the Stanley Cup final with the Edmonton Oilers, general manager, and now analyst for the Oilers, Craig McTavish. Joins us, Mac T. How you doing?
Hey, good.
Craig, I want to get your thoughts as a player. Do you remember the first time when you were, the first year you won your cup, and kind of when you woke up that morning and where you were like, okay, I can actually win the Stanley Cup today. How do you deal with that first time? How exciting is it? How hard is it to block out the thoughts of winning a cup?
I think it's just narrow the focus and focus on controllables. And, the organizations have all really done a good job of trying to eliminate the obvious distractions this time of year where, family and friends and so forth. There's all kinds of tickets that need to be bought and put away for family and friends. And, Florida, well documented, flew 150 people in on for Game 4, obviously. That just is part of today's game. Same with Game 6. They flew a bunch of people back here for Game 6. So there's a lot of organization that goes into accommodating all those people. And, it enhances the disappointment from the losses in Games 4 and obviously Game 5 and Game 6 for Florida. But for me, it was just, focus on what you can control in your game. What's your baseline game? What are you going to obviously do in the game, whether it's physical play, whether it's elite execution, whether it's work ethic, all those things that you can control those, and then try to build your game from that baseline game. But don't go in there playing too conservatively or trying to do too much. And I was never a star, obviously, but there's a lot more pressure on the stars to deliver and produce in games like this. That's, what makes them stars, because they generally do that. But, it's going to be an epic night. I live downtown, and it's just crazy down here right now. They're just getting ready to let people in, and there's a lineup all the way down 104th Avenue, and it's going to be, I'm sure the Panther fans are saying that they deserve it, but I don't think anybody's ran the emotional gamut like Oiler fans over the last decade or two. So, obviously a little biased in my assessment of this, but I think these people are ready and deserving, and as are the players.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, I wrote the article today at Oilers Nation. For 25 years, Craig, from 93 to 2019, Oiler fans endured a lot of pain. So they have some scars. And if it's true that you get tougher from the scar tissue, then you know what? They'll be ready to celebrate tonight. As you know, you're always a very cerebral player and a coach, and you watch kind of how this series has gone. And the Oilers were down 3-0 in the series. I don't think they played poorly, other than maybe Game 2 where Florida dominated them. Craig, the changes that they made, they got a little bit more stretch passing. Their forwards, the wingers kept a little bit deeper in the zone that forced Florida's defensemen to have to, maybe not pinch down as easy or as quick as they can. And that's really seemed to hurt Florida. And I think the overall speed of the Oilers, it's obvious they're a faster team. Paul Maurice said after Game 6 that they got to play faster. And even when they play fast, that they're playing into corners, right? Like they're getting boxed out, which obviously means Edmonton's doing a good job. So when you hear him say that, what kind of adjustments do you think they can try to make to not have those same issues resurface tonight?
Well, I think their offense is pretty simply driven by attrition and down low plays behind the goal line. I mean, that to me would be a pretty primary focus of the coaching staff for Edmonton. They have guys that between the dots below the goal line can make a lot of plays. And we have to do a good job defending that. The Bennett's, the Barkovs, the Chucks. I mean, they're big, strong, powerful guys that protect the puck well. And if they're able to make those passes to their finishers, you know, guys like Verhaeghe and Reinhart, and Rodriguez, Tarasenko, Ekman Larson on the back end, Montour, guys that are very good at jumping in those holes, then it's going to be a problem for Edmonton. But you know, we really need to do a good job defending against the Barkovs, the Chucks, and Bennett's below the goal line, so they can't make those pinpoint passes to their finishers. And I mean, they're not really a team that's built on the rush. As you said, it's pretty clear that the Oilers are the faster team and the speedier team on the rush. And I mean, McDavid's the best for sure in the world at that, and a lot of other things. But we're good on the rush. I think if we can control the play below our goal line, Bobrovsky, get to him like we've done the last little while, we'll have I'm surprised you said the Oilers are a small underdog. I mean, that I don't see it. And I mean, we've done such a good job against them the last little while. I mean, the history of the game is, 12-5 in the last 17 games, sevens, and the home team's won 12 of 17. I guess that's a part of it. But everything in this series to this point leads me to believe the Oilers have an advantage. I mean, can they lose? Absolutely. They're playing against the best or second best team will be decided tonight in the league. So they can be beat. There's no question about that. But I don't see it happening. I really don't going in. I can't see why the Oilers would be an underdog in this game.
No, I agree with you. We were doing it at PlayAlberta.ca, kind of the lines, and so Oiler fans maybe put a few shekels down if you want to use the promo code Gregor50. Haha. But you look at it from an Edmonton perspective, Craig, and you've played the game. Like I know that there doesn't seem to be a carryover of momentum per se, but my goodness, like the Oilers, how they handled them in game 4, but then in game 5 and 6, even though it wasn't 8-1, they led 3-0 in both games, right? And Florida did make it close in the third period, 4-3 in game 5. So you never just assume you're going to win. But man, like when you've looked at Edmonton's changes, what's impressed you most about their play in the final 3 games of this series?
Well, to me, it boils down to a few things. One has been a staple of the team's success throughout the playoffs. That's the penalty kill. I mean, amazing job by their penalty killers and Mark Stewart, the penalty killing coach. I mean, that guy, you never hear from him. You don't even know he exists, but he's running the most potent penalty kill unit that the league's seen for a lot of years. And I love that about him. And obviously doing a fantastic job deploying strategy that's offsetting what Florida does well on the power play. I mean, you give the players the ultimate credit, but Mark Stewart's an underrated guy in this whole thing in my mind. But that's been paramount. How can we be +1 against their power play in the series? And to think they're going to game 7 being down 1 on special teams, hard to believe, but we've done it. We got to continue the penalty kill. Stuart Skinner has been unreal. Even in the 8-1 game, I mean, he had 30-plus shots. He played fantastic. I mean, he had the run support, but that game was nowhere near as lopsided as what the score indicated. He's played fantastic. The emergence of Janmark, who's played, excuse me, incredibly well. And Henrique and Brown have played fantastic, and they've given us the line that we've all kind of wanted for a lot of years, a line that's got experience, got smarts, and they're producing at critical times. So, I mean, Brown is another unbelievable story for me, how well he's played. Henrique, I expected that. Smart, veteran player, but that line, they're a handful. I would predict that they're going to produce again tonight. They've done it, and I would predict they're going to produce again tonight. So that line to me has played great, and the McDavid leadership and the way he's played. I mean, facing elimination in games 4 and 5, he rolls 2 4-point nights. I mean, amazing. And that separates, that gets us to where we are tonight.
Craig McTavish joins us. Craig, I want to go back and, we were talking just about, the excitement of it for fans. And obviously, you you're a member of the organization, but now you're a fan, right? You sit and you watch the games at home. Do you get nervous at all? Like when you ever coached, were you ever nervous on the bench in Game 7 where you can't do anything? You're obviously in the game, but did you feel the nerves difference as a coach than you did as a player?
Yeah, I think from a coaching standpoint, you feel more anxiety. I won't say nerves, but more anxiety to win the game. And as the clock's ticking down, if you're protecting a 1-goal lead, it can be stressful. But at the same time, you have to realize that you don't have a critical impact in the game at that point, other than making sure you get the right players on the ice at the right time, which is significant. But I mean, coaches, I think, experience a lot more pressure than the players.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure when you played, Craig, you're like, well, I'm in the game. I can impact the game. When you coach, you change the lines and stuff, but ultimately you can set up the best game plan in the world. Your players still have to do it, right? So is helpless the wrong word, but were you ever times where you just, you felt you had to learn maybe a different emotion as a coach compared to a player? And how long did it take you to get comfortable in that?
I wouldn't say helpless. I mean, you always feel responsible as a coach for the on-ice product, and you always feel if you finish short that you could have done something different, whether it's a tactical maneuver, whether it's a better way to inspire and motivate the type of emotion and effort that you need to win. You always feel responsible for the result. As a player, you could take. There's no self-satisfaction for anybody, player or coach, in this game tonight that results in a loss. And but normally, as a player, if you do your job and play well and lay it on the line, you can leave the game somewhat satisfied, but you never could as a coach. And to your point, the Oiler fans have waited a long time for this, and it was never a strategy to stay in the middle. And sometimes you got to go to the bottom to go to the top. And getting players like Connor and Leon, players that are driving the bus tonight and will continue to drive it, as it makes the pain and suffering all worthwhile.
Craig, where will you watch the game tonight? Do you watch it solo? Do you watch it with a group of people?
Well, I was going to go to a buddy's place, but I don't know that I live downtown. I don't know that I could ever get back. And we watched Game 7 at a friend of ours' house with a group of people, and Game 7 against Vancouver, and we mopped them up. We watched Game 5 in the Stanley Cup Finals against Florida, and we did pretty well there. So being superstitious, as we all are at this time of year, I want to get back there, but trying to get into the building here tonight was pretty crazy. So I'll either go back to my buddy's place and risk it, or watch it quietly in my apartment here.
Well, wherever you watch it, I hope you enjoy it. And Oiler fans are hoping that your thoughts, and they agree that the Oilers should win, and we'll see. That's what makes the game so exciting. We'll find out in about 4 hours what's going to happen. Craig, as always, man, we appreciate it. Yeah.
And, it's just amazing. The whole logistics down here that have been built around Rogers Place by our owner, Daryl Cates. I mean, it just, everybody, whether you can afford a ticket or not afford a ticket, you have an opportunity to experience what it's like to be an Oiler fan. It's much more inclusive than I remember back at the old Rexall days. But this is an amazing run, and I'm sure we'll finish it off tonight. Thanks.
Thanks. That's Craig McTavish, of course, a longtime Edmonton Oilers player, coach, general manager, now an analyst with the Oilers, and obviously, hey, still bleeds the orange and blue, and feels that the Oilers, they should win tonight. I'm assuming most of you are agreeing with the former coach. We'll come back. We got 5 questions. We are live in Fort Lauderdale. Game 7 is exactly 1 hour and 40 minutes away. McDavid, Draisaitl going for their first cup. Well, pretty much every player on the Oilers, except for Corey Perry, going for their first Stanley Cup and their first opportunity to win a cup. They've never been in this situation as the Oilers, right? They never had the chance to win prior. They've been down the whole series until tonight. Tonight, they can win. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Stanley Cup Play. Sports 1440 has got you covered.
It's been a hell of a story so far, but I'm just really proud of the way, we gave ourselves a chance.
To South Florida for a winner-take-all Stanley Cup Final Game 7. For all things Stanley, there's only one sports station in town. Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Hey, Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key. When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, builds and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. We're excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house. Quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantor.com to find out more.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated
All right, Gregor,
online
you're live.
gambling website.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook on just a magnificent Monday for hockey fans. The excitement, the anticipation. Oh, it is building. You can't wait, can you? So many places I know that have shut their business at 5 o'clock so everybody can get home in time to watch the game or get out. Maybe you're going on the rocks. Highly recommend getting there now. They got some tables. They'll be standing room. Trust me. Get there. You'll get in. You won't regret it. If you want to watch it with about 400 or 500 other Oiler fans having a great time together, you'll do it. And you know what? It'll be a place that you'll remember for a long time, especially if they are victorious tonight. No lineup changes for the Oilers. Only one for the Panthers. Okposo's back in. Nick Cousins comes out. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Check out The Brick's Boxing Week sale. All the great savings, including 60% off sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair, only at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor, it is going to be the last 5 questions for this season. So I got to ask you for one last time this year, a prediction for the game and throw in one bold prediction as well.
Well, I have the Oilers victorious 4-1. And my bold prediction was that Cody Ceci, Mr. Game 7, shocks everybody and scores again.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'll take Oilers 5-2 because we're not going to go against them. And a bold prediction, I'll say 3-point night for Evan Bouchard. I don't know how bold that is. Maybe he can do it, but that's what I'm going to go with. Question number 2 for y'all. Let's just jump ahead to Friday and then onward. There's going to be the NHL draft, of course. We'll see how many members of the Oilers organization make it down. Maybe the same thing for the Panthers. But when you look at the Oil going with their 2nd round pick, is there an area of need you would target, or is it a best player available situation?
Oh, yeah. To me, you trust your amateur scouts. Who do they think is a player and that they think is going to be the best? The Oilers, look at their organization. I don't think you can say, oh, we need this. They're going to need lots of players, but this is a pick that's not going to help you for 5 years. So in 5 years, your roster might look very different. So you want to draft the best player. So either they become an NHL player or they become an asset that you can move.
With you 100%. Best player available, whoever it's going to be that can help you the soonest. I think that's where I'm looking. No area of need. And hey, let's admit it. That makes things a little bit easier for the Oilers, I would assume. Question number 3, after falling to the Argos on Saturday, how much trouble are the Elks in? And do you think the playoffs are realistic for this team?
Well, it's only 3 games, and man, there's no moral victories, unfortunately, for them. But they played well. But you got to start winning soon. They're not out of it yet by any stretch. Like Winnipeg's off to a brutal start, so that helps them. But yeah, they got to get going. I wouldn't say the playoffs are done just because of 3 games. But you know what, they got to get rolling here sooner than later. There's no doubt in my mind, right? Like Hamilton, Edmonton, and Winnipeg are all 0-3. So, that helps them a little bit. And if Ottawa or Calgary lose their next game, they're only one, game behind to get in. So it's not, I don't think out of this world to think they can make the playoffs, but they got BC, which is going to be a tough game. And like eventually, if you're 0-4 or 0-5 cons, like we've seen 0-5 teams make the playoffs before, so you can't completely rule it out. But for a team that hasn't had a lot of success lately, this is not a good start whatsoever. Like you can say that, we played well, but they can't win, right? They find different ways, bad penalties, bad calls. So, I thought their offense, they definitely scored enough to win last game, but couldn't get it done defensively.
Totally agree. I mean, a couple different penalties. You go back to Cam Tait week 1, and in this last one, I think it was Kai, had the penalty there. Just things that are killing them, breaking their back. They need to clean those things up. I'm on record. I'm thinking by mid-season, they're going to turn this thing around and start winning more than they lose. So I do think they will make the playoffs. I think the defense will get it together, but my goodness, it was not good on Saturday night. Question number 4 for you. Speaking with the Toronto theme a little bit here, Scotty Barnes going to get paid by the Toronto Raptors. Would you have paid him, and do you think he can be the guy on a contending team?
Oh, that's a good question, Cons. You kind of have to pay him. You know what? What's he going to do? They're going to walk away. But yeah, I don't think he's worth that much money. But that's how the NBA is, right? So he's going to be the highest paid player in franchise history. He's not the best player in franchise history. He's still young, but you know what? They're going to have to build around him. I don't know how good Hill can be. He's not an elite player. I think he could be a number 2 on your team, but they're still looking for a number 1.
Couldn't have said it any better with you than that. I mean, I really like him. I think he's a good player. Could be 1B, could be the second guy, but I think you need someone a little bit stronger than him if you're ever going to have success and again pursue that title for the Toronto Raptors. Similar to Kawhi Leonard, you can bring that piece in, and then all of a sudden, I think Scotty Barnes is a pretty good piece, but I don't think he's the guy to lead this franchise back to glory. And final question for you. On this day in 2022, the Elvis movie, appropriately titled Elvis, was released. So when it comes to biopics based on musician, what would you say is your favorite?
Oh, God, you go first because I got a few.
For me, and it's one of the newer ones, I would say Straight Outta Compton, just the NWA story. I thought they did that one very well. Kind of, sometimes it's like they spend too much time building it up. Like this one, they kind of got to it pretty quickly, how Eazy and Dre kind of formed it, put it all together, and the group and the rise and the things that they had to overcome, and then the inevitable downfall and the separation. I thought it was a really good movie, thought it was really well done. So Straight Outta Compton would be my favorite.
Yeah, that was really good. The one that I actually quite like, remember, I don't know if you remember it or not, but Gary Busey, when he was Buddy Holly. Now, this is a long time ago. It's like and I only watched that probably like 10 or 15 years ago because I didn't even know about it because it came out when I was a kid. But I watched that, and I knew a lot about him because of my dad. And so it was one of those days where I just kind of needed something to remind me of my old man, and that was it. So that one, and then the other one I actually quite liked was, well, obviously, who doesn't like La Bamba? It's fantastic. But I was a big fan of 8 Mile, right? And B Rabbit.
Yeah,
so
that was good.
Yeah,
La Bamba. We did that one for the movie watch, and it was really good. Richie Valens, 17 years old, right?
Yeah, he was young.
That's crazy. That's just awful. But yeah, there's some really good ones out there. I still need to see The Doors because I think you look at Val Kilmer, he looked like Jim Morrison. So I think that's another one I want to get to soon.
Yeah, you know what the other one is? I haven't seen that. Walk the Line was pretty good, right? For Johnny Cash and June Carter.
Yeah.
You seen that with Joaquin Phoenix and what's her name? Reese Witherspoon.
Haven't seen it.
Shocking. Oh yeah. I know.
Heard good things.
Pardon?
I heard good things about it though. I heard many good things about that one.
Yeah, no, that's good. So coming up, the con man is going to be taking over because I have to get to the rink in time, and the traffic got to take a little bit extra. So we'll have Mark Spector with Connor, Kevin Woodley, Connor, and Declan Kruger will be running the show. Big thanks to On the Rocks for getting us here for the Game 7. Get to On the Rocks tonight. And remember, 18 years ago they opened. They opened for the final 4 games when the 4 games of the playoffs were going on. So they, like you, have never seen a Stanley Cup victory for the Edmonton Oilers, but it could happen tonight. at OTR, where if they win, the celebration will be going on quite some time. Have a lot of fun tonight, Edmonton, and any Leduc, St. Albert, Sherwood Parks, wherever you are, Spurs. Have fun, be smart, right? Good fans don't need to be dumb. Just remember that. Win or lose, have a lot of fun tonight. I have a sneaking suspicion. My gut says the Oilers are winning tonight. I just feel it. I think they're the better team. They have the best player, and the best player who's been unreal in the playoffs with 42 points can have one more great performance, and he's got the supporting cast where he doesn't have to have 4 points for the Oilers to win. He could do it, but that's what I'm leaning on tonight. And I think the Oilers players, their organization, and the fans like you who have supported a team for a long, long time, sometimes without a lot of success, will be rewarded for it tonight. And for those who were there in 2006 recently, 18 years later, I think it'll be very sweet for you. I hope I'm right. Either way, we'll be back to talk about it. We'll either be euphoric tomorrow for Oilers fans, or it'll be a tough day. Either one, that's why you love sports. So enjoy the games. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey Heroes Society and their charity golf tournament featuring NHL alumni in support of the Hockey Heroes Society and the Whitecourt Boys and Girls Club. Their gala dinners on Friday the 6th. Golf is on the 7th. You can sign up your foursome today at hockeyheroesgame.com. Hockeyheroesgame.com. Good night. The con man will take you home. Enjoy the game.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 7 finally here. Oilers and Panthers meeting in Sunrise just after 6 o'clock for the Panthers. Kyle Okposo draws back into the lineup with Nick Cousins coming out. This one gets going at 6:20 Mountain Time. In the majors, the Jays in action. They're set to take on the Boston Red Sox in about 15 minutes' time. A couple games underway. Phillies lead the Tigers 4-0 in the bottom of the first. Also in the first, Guardians and Orioles tied at 1. And the Mariners and Rays are scoreless. Later, you'll have the Brewers and Rangers, Athletics in Anaheim, Padres host the Nationals, and the Cubs take on the Giants. Euro 2024 earlier today. Spain over Albania 1-0, and it was Italy scoring in the 98th minute to even up their game with Croatia. With that, they will advance. Croatia is done. And at Copa America at halftime, Colombia leads Paraguay 2-0 down in Houston. At 7 o'clock, Brazil takes on Costa Rica. That will be played at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And from the association today, Scotty Barnes set to sign a 5-year max rookie extension with the Toronto Raptors. The deal will be worth up to $270 million, making Scotty Barnes the highest paid player in franchise history. That won't kick in until the 2025-26 season and will run through 2030. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton. It's a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-the-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals like mattresses starting at just $149.99. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy sweet passes
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Wolf GMC Buick. And it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
I'm Rick Showers from Noble RV, and we're having a moving sale at our Spruce Grove store. Now, our new store in Leduc is huge, and we have room for lots more. But we have over 100 quality used RVs here in Spruce Grove, and I'd rather give you a great deal than pay a mover to take it to Leduc. Does that make sense to you, Johnny?
Makes perfect sense to me, Rick. So what's your plan?
Well, Johnny, first thing is we're going to take the moving costs off the price of every used RV in Spruce Grove, and we do accept offers. So find the perfect used RV right here. We have over 100 camping trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, tent trailers, and motorhomes. See anything you like, Johnny?
Might just keep this one for myself, Rick.
Yeah, we get that a lot, but the moving sale is for a very limited time. We have to close the Spruce Grove store in just a couple weeks. But if we happen to have what you're looking for, then it's a win for both of us.
And that's NobleRV.ca.
Elk Island, rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lights, my face getting clearer. The past is gone, and I like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the do's and life. Yeah, I know nobody comes the way I do.
Stanley Cup Finals for all the marbles. Winner of this one will hoist Lord Stanley once it's all said and done, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We are coming to you live from the eWell Studios here in West Edmonton Mall. Right now, we are going to get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Still looking for laborers, pipe layer helpers. top men, women, lead hands, operators, and water and sewer foremen. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction from Rogers Sportsnet. Mark Spector joins us. Spec, good afternoon, good evening. How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good, Connor.
How is it down there?
It's a big one, man. No, it's great. The building's filling up with Oiler fans here. I just walked out to the bowl just to have a peek, and there's a first thing I see is about 50 people that stand along the glass in the corner, all in Oiler jerseys. So I'm watching right now a group of players playing soccer. Zach Hyman's running by, stretching out a little bit here, and it looks, to be honest, it looks like it looks in November or December. There's just a few more people around. That's all.
Love to hear it. Everyone's calm, cool, collected, ready to go. So I want to ask you this, Becca. I just want to ask you off the ice. What have you noticed in the last week or so here with the Edmonton Oilers and the attitude? Obviously, you got to think the first couple of games, stress has to be at an all-time high. You're in the biggest situation and you're losing. All of a sudden, things are going good. Have you noticed anything just with the players off the ice?
Yeah, like it's a big struggle to try to manage emotion around these guys. Like it's always when you lose, it's all the stupidest cliche, not too high, not too low. But we've really watched these guys go through the gamut here. Like they're so good now at suffering a loss or two and not freaking out about it and not going crazy. They get to work, their coaching staff gets to work, they figure out what's going on. The players have this crazy belief here. And they manage it. So when they were losing the first 3 games, they weren't, they didn't look like a team that was going down 0-3. And now that they're winning 3 in a row, frankly, they don't look a whole lot different. And that's what you want. Like that's what all the athletes tell you. You got to be the same guy all the time. You got a better chance to win. And whatever's happening with this team, it's working because we're in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. So whatever mojo they got going, whatever headspace, whatever mind frame. It ain't changing now, pal, because it's worked pretty good so far.
Now, on the flip side, I mean, there was a pretty great shot that Sportsnet had. Shania Twain was playing in the background, and they were panning across the Panthers bench, and the faces just looked distraught, like they didn't know what had happened in the last 3 games. How are they doing going into this one? Because I got to think the mindset's just got to be like, how the heck did we get here?
Yeah, it's a completely different, I won't tell you I've spent a ton of time around them because frankly I've been covering Edmonton more so, but it certainly is a different scenario. One team's game's gone north here and it's going really good. And the other team, you got to remember, Connor, that guys play their whole careers and don't play for a Stanley Cup. Some of them. Nuge has been in the league, whatever it's been. He got drafted 13 years ago, right? Or is it when did he get drafted? 13 years ago.
Today.
Right.
It was June 24th, yeah.
He's getting his first game where he could win a Stanley Cup tonight, taking him 13 years. These guys have had 3 chances in the last 10 days and haven't been able to grab the ring. So that rattles you. I'm sure it rattles you a little bit. And there's got to be a little voice in your head saying, man, I can't be a guy that's goes through the rest of my life knowing I had 4 chances at a cup and didn't win one of them. Like that would be, for hockey people, that would haunt you the rest of your life. So everyone has their own motivation here. It comes from different directions, but the one thing that's equal is they're all highly motivated.
Mark Spector joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger in for the final hour here as we head towards puck drop, an hour and 11 minutes away. I got to ask you about Leon Draisaitl, Spec. Obviously, we saw him, maybe not playing up to his standards. Had the great saucer pass to Warren Foegele last game. What have you thought of his play in the last couple games in the direction it's trending?
Yeah, he really dug in last game. I thought he was very, he only had 1 point, but he was very good, and he looked a lot more like the productive Leon Draisaitl. His game, I think, mirrors the Oilers' game. It's heading north here. I suspect he'll be even better tonight. So, listen, man, the big German, he's a big game player. Like, did the Oilers ever play an important game where we walked away from it saying, gee, I wish Leon Draisaitl would have given us more? I'm not sure those words have ever been spoken. So there are certain guys on certain teams that I look at in a game like this, and I have no concern that they're going to bring everything they got. And for sure, Draisaitl's one of those guys. Hey, where are you watching the game tonight?
Oh, just in the basement. That's where I've been watching all the playoff games. I'm going to keep that trend going. I'm going to race home, hope that the traffic isn't bad because I've missed the last few games. first 5 minutes. We're going to hope that the traffic isn't too bad. I hear a lot of local companies are shutting down shop at like 4:35. So I'm hoping that eases the pressure for myself to make it home
So you
in
watching
time.
it all by yourself, or do you have friends?
The wife will be there. She's not as into it. She's kind of there just moral support. I think rooting on the team, but not a huge fan. So yeah, it's a good environment for me. We're not going to get too worked up either way, I hope.
Yeah, you'll get worked up. I'm not so worried about that.
I'll be on the edge of the seat. It's going to be tough. It'll probably take a year off my life, but that's why we love it.
That's why we love sports, man.
I want to ask you this, because on Fantasy Frenzy today, we brought it up, like, what was your favorite part about this run? And for a lot of people, it was like Connor McDavid maybe getting the attention that he deserves from the national spotlight, people elsewhere. What have you thought about, how he's lived up to the moment here, and also just the added pressure, because I'm sure you see it more than anyone. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of new cameras, microphones out there trying to get a piece of this guy.
Yeah, and like a lot of people will tell you, it's probably taken maybe too long or longer than we expected for Connor McDavid to get to this stage, because the team around them they haven't got here yet, but here they are. But I would say to you that now that he's arrived as a 27-year-old captain, he is very, very capable and ready for this moment, both off the ice with all the attention and on the ice. Like, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, a young Connor McDavid would have been a little overwhelmed with all of this. Not today. He's excellent on the podium. He's, they got to manage his media minutes just the way they did with Gretz in the old days. But he is very good when you see him on a camera. He's good. He's doing post game with Kyle Bukauskas every day. He's good in those. He's telling us some things. He has a lot more personality. And I'll tell you what, man, like those 2 4-point games he had when the Oilers were down 3-0, that's just insanity how good he played. He dragged his team back into this thing. And I can't wait, right? I can't wait here to see the best player in the world in the biggest game of his life tonight. Like, peak Connor McDavid in 3-2-1 here, boys. It's I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be something we're always going to remember the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that moment, maybe similar to Game 6 against Dallas, where we just say, wow, he did it on the biggest stage, as we thought he might. Spectre, I just want to ask you one more here before we let you go, and it sounds like you got a pretty raucous crowd around you. So what do you think the timeline is? Let's just take winning and losing out of it. There could be a parade, but we got the draft starting on Friday. We've got free agency in no time. I mean, whoever is going to be handling this, there's not a whole lot of time to celebrate, because it's going to be back to business very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the businesses that are going on behind the scenes. There's, like, let's say a guy like Warren Fogle, for instance. The Oilers, Ken Holland or whomever, Brad Holland, Ken Holland, maybe Jeff Jackson even, has spoken with his agent. I have a feeling that Warren Fogle will be able to find more money elsewhere, more than the Oilers can afford to spend on him, frankly. So I would tell you that both sides know what the outcome of that is going to be. And I think the same is probably true for pretty much all your UFAs here. Like a guy like Janmark, they're allowed to talk to the agents of their own players, right? So all that business is figured out. They know who they're keeping. They know who they're losing. Are you going to be able to keep Henrique? I doubt it. Right? Do you want to keep Carrick? I hope so. Things like that. So yeah, like everyone's busy playing hockey, but there's guys on the phone all day figuring all this stuff out too. No one's taking anybody by surprise here on July 1st. The Oilers will be prepared. I'm sure the Oilers are prepared for it. Every single team would be. So is Florida.
It's going to be awesome. Spec, you got a prediction tonight?
Oh boy, I hate predictions. But yeah, you know what? I'm from Edmonton and I'm on Edmonton radio, so I better pick the Oilers. I think it'll be I don't know. Don't ask me what's going to happen. I'll pick Edmonton and leave it at that.
Gregor went 4-1. I went 5-2. So
okay,
it would be comfortable, I suppose, that way, unless we get a couple empty netters late. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Spec, enjoy it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Connor.
There you go. That is Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction, hiring at a bunch of different positions. You can go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. Declan Kruger alongside with me. Declan, we haven't got your prediction on this one. What are your thoughts going into this one? Like, Spec takes the Oilers. Gregor takes the Oilers 4-1. I take the Oilers 5-2. Probably not a big surprise. Are you leaning on the Oilers bandwagon here as well?
I'm definitely leaning towards the Oilers. I think I would be a fool not to at this point. The one thing I'll say is it's tough to beat a good team 4 times in a row. That said, I think the Oilers win. I think it's close, though. It's game 7. I think it's bound to be tight. I'll say the Oilers win 4-3.
I love it. Let us know. 1-833-401-1440. Which way are you leaning? It's funny. Our YouTube chat right now is just getting bombarded by NHL final streaming. It's we've been taken over by these types of bots, Declan, and they're not actually providing a link. They're just providing emojis. So they're really not helping us out by any means or helping anyone else stream illegally. So you're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, maybe go out to a bar, maybe a pint. I did notice on the Facebook chat, we do have some messages. Kai Sharp, let's go Oilers. Lindsay says, let's go Oil. And Andrea says, let's go Oil. We want the cup. Tina as well. Let's go Oilers. Let's go. Evgeny says 4-1 Oilers. MK says, I'm so nervous. And you're not alone. I feel like the majority of people here right now are just kind of freaking out. We're an hour and 3 minutes away from puck drop. What do? I think Arda had a good idea. Play some video games, maybe relax. Obviously, you keep it locked in Sports 1440. It's kind of a no-brainer when it comes to that one. But yeah, it's nervous times here in oil country. Still to come on this show, we'll hear some comments from some Oilers. We'll also be joined by Kevin Woodley. He's out in Maui, I believe. I think he spent the afternoon surfing. That'd be a nice way to spend some time before the Stanley Cup final game 7. Superman's prediction, Oilers in 7. How bold of you, Superman. It's going to be awesome. Declan, did you see the space people? Space men, I suppose?
Well, I saw Gregor tweet it. I honestly didn't know what it was in reference to.
I don't get it. I'm not too sure exactly what it is. Maybe just space launches happen in Florida, right? Sometimes.
Right, they do. Yeah, that is correct.
They were flying. I didn't really get it. I think Gary actually had one of them on his show today.
Really?
How do you? Maybe they just had an old Halloween costume and just threw it on.
It's really it's more impressive if they went out and got it just for this, and honestly, not even for the game, just for the flight to Florida.
Yeah, just
that would
dressing up.
Yeah, that'd be the cool part.
You really like Apollo 13. Thought it was a great movie. Lindsay also says, I couldn't sleep last night. I was a rotisserie chicken, just probably rotating in bed. Man, I slept great. I went on with Scott Mitchell down in Camrose today. He asked me how nervous I was. I wasn't too nervous. Arda, same question. How nervous were you, or are you? I'm not playing in the game, so I don't really get nervous. There's not too much I can do. But Declan, I said it before. Like if this was the Chargers, I'd be sweating. That's all I'd be thinking about. The Oilers, I don't know. Like maybe I was probably more nervous for game 4, but game 7, they've done good. They've played some really good hockey. Only certain types get nervous. Not me today. Glenn says, guys, I think those spacesuits were perfect because it was Oilers orange. They will stand out like crazy in Florida's sea of red. Matt says they're dressed like astronauts because it's Florida and that's where NASA launches their rockets. Okay, well, there we go. The color is also great. And from what I've seen a few people actually posting videos walking in. There is going to be a lot of Oilers fans, and I think they're going to be well lubricated. Terry Ryan, if you follow Spittin' Chicklets on any form of social media, you know he's going to be down there making some noise for the Oil, having a good time. Hefe texting in 1-833-401-1440. I've puked twice and the game hasn't started. Is that straight nerves, Hefe, or is that liquor? Either way, not ideal. But grab a Gatorade, a Powerade, hydrate, and get ready because I'm sure it's only going to get worse as we get closer to puck drop. We are now officially 1 hour away. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. When we come back, we will be joined by Kevin Woodley of InGoal Magazine and NHL.com. We're going to talk Bobrovsky, Skinner, and then the goalie carousel moving around the NHL. We'll get his thoughts on the new landing spots for all the NHL goaltenders. That and more still to come here on the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
In Alberta, over 8,000 families with sick or injured children travel for medical care every year, and they need a place to stay together. So with your help, Ronald McDonald House is building bigger. And if the kids could build it, they would. But together, we can. Visit rmhcalbertabuild.org to donate.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Saskatchewan Rattlers Monday, July 1st at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
Weiss Johnson. Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson, and our team here is so hyped about being in the finals and ending the Canadian drought that we're giving away a free air conditioner when Edmonton brings home the cup. So enter now, weissjohnson.com. Hit the Contact Us button, tell us who your favorite Edmonton player is, and you'll be entered to win a brand new air conditioner minus installation. Our family cheering loud and proud since 1977. We want the cup!
Over a calm, glassy lake, you cast your line. Your new Toyota sits majestically by the water's edge. A loon calls in the distance. Or a duck. Anyways, this moment isn't just a dream, it's an invitation to adventure. So stop dreaming. Red Tag Days at Toyota are ending soon. For a limited time, lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $164 weekly for 60 months at 6.99% with $6,899 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Debt. Most of us have it, but it's the last thing we want to talk about. When we're struggling, we need someone to talk to. We want to be heard without judgment. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day. I can help you find the solution to fit your situation. Talking about it is the first step to relief. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Area, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use code word Gregor50, your last day to do so, $50 bet with a minimum of a $5 deposit. Also, make sure you use your game sense when you're doing that. Should be a fun one. We are less than an hour away, 55 minutes from puck drop. Down in Sunrise, Oilers-Panthers Game 7. Winner takes home the Stanley Cup. It's going to be amazing. Right now, we're going to be joined by Kevin Woodley of In Goal Magazine. This is for On the Rocks Kitchen and Drink, Jasper Avenue 118th, sending Gregor to Florida. Great spot to go watch the game. $4.50 Canadian, 80-cent wings. Hit down there. There's probably a couple seats left, so make sure you get down there quickly and enjoy the game on their brand new TVs. We are really looking forward to this one. We now bring in Kevin Woodley, In Goal Magazine and NHL.com. Kevin, how you doing? You've got a pretty nice background from what I can see here.
Yeah, this is in Florida. This is Honolulu. So I was told the Stanley Cup playoffs would be over by now and maybe book the family trip. So I too have to find a place, although I took to Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days and asked, and I got some great recommendations. So as soon as we're off, Connor, I'm told I've got a few spots I can hit with some big TVs and Waikiki in the backdrop. So I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Maybe a Kona beer or two would be good with that one.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not working down here, so I'm free to partake.
Excellent. Well, let's start off with the goaltending in the series here, and been a kind of a tale of two halves here. The first half, Sergei Bobrovsky looked fantastic, and then from games 4, 5, 6, not quite so much. The Edmonton Oilers able to get some goals early and then not really slow down. Now, I want to ask you, is it something the Oilers are doing differently, or is something changing with the Florida Panthers and the way Bobrovsky's been playing?
I think the Oilers are doing a much better job of sort of getting to, and we talked about this going into the series, every goalie has strengths and relative weaknesses, and I just think they've done a much better job of sort of attacking him the way I would have drawn it up, the way I'm sure Dustin Schwartz drew it up with the pre-scout. You see, even like compare the breakaways in game 1 to the breakaways they've had the last couple of games. Like the situation is sometimes different, right? Obviously, if you get a breakaway in tight hash marks, you're not going to be able to draw him out. That's where you want to take a shot. But when they've had chances to sort of create those one-on-ones and draw him wide and string him from one side of the ice to the other, the exposure that creates, even Hyman's not quite one side to the other, but making sure they go to the blocker side and sort of draw him out, get him to push wide. Like that's the game script. That's how you beat Sergei Bobrovsky. And so a lot of people, like I actually had people in my mentions going like, oh, do you start Anthony Stolarz in game 7? I'm like, no, like this is Sergei Bobrovsky. This isn't Sergei Bobrovsky all of a sudden not being that great. This is, I mean, little time out there. Like he was on an absolute heater to start this series, right? But as I said, the last time we talked, like his goals saved in those 3 games was almost the same as the entire playoffs to this point. So it wasn't a matter of whether there'd be a regression. It's sort of how far. And I think the combination of him sort of being back to Bob, the Bob we know, and that's not bad, but them also really hammering on sort of the relative weaknesses in his game, whether it's on breakaways, whether it's on plays, willingness to shoot the puck from distance, understanding that, you don't need to make a perfect play. You don't need to create a backdoor tap in. As a matter of fact, if you try that, to go back to Arthur Shelov's in the second round, if you try and create those plays, you're actually playing to Sergei Bobrovsky's strength. So I think they've done a really nice job of sort of adjusting how they attack. It's how I would have expected them to, at least the pre-scout to look coming into this series. Sometimes maybe it just takes a couple of games to sort of maybe even trust it, right? And they've gotten back to that. And if they can continue it tonight, then things probably bode well for the Edmonton Oilers.
On the flip side now, what have you seen from Stuart Skinner in these last 3 games?
It's not like, like we're so far along in the season. It's not like he's going to reinvent how he plays, right? But there's been a couple times pucks have been below the goal line, and watch the head checks. Watch him sort of look off the puck and sort of scan the zone. When you compare the low-high pass from below the goal line behind the net in game 1 to, I believe it was, I'm trying to think, was it Rodriguez, compared to the backdoor on Ekblad, the awareness is better, but he's also not pushing out into the middle. Even off the rush, when they're creating odd man rushes on lateral plays like they did in game 4, and he made some of his spectacular saves, instead of pushing straight across and creating more exposure, he's working back to his post. You saw that on the Ekblad one. Like instead of pushing out to the middle and then finding the puck, he goes post to post and then out, establishing angle over depth, understanding that he's a big body and he needs to just get himself on angle and square first. And then if he has time, maybe take a little ice. That's the one thing that, it's not like that's a new thing in his game, but that's one thing as this series has gone on, I think he's done a little better. And I just think, without having had the opportunity to ask him this, my hunch would be the success he has as series going on is in part because the Oilers get better as a team in terms of what they give up and what they, limit the other team, specifically their strengths. And I think probably just a comfort level. Like you see these guys night in, night out, you inherently know more instinctually, who's on what line. So if the play comes down the left wing, you know that the center's a left shot and the right winger's a right shot. So you can adjust. Like those are the types of factors that goalies adjust. Like if I'm making a lateral push on a cross ice play off the rush, where I push to depends entirely on whether it's a left-handed or right-handed shot. Probably as series goes on and he gets more comfortable with teams and their attacks and who's on the ice at what time, that becomes a little more innate, a little more instinctual. and it breeds confidence in his game and probably personally as well.
Kevin, just quickly here, if we're talking best on best at an international tournament, has Stuart Skinner played himself into the top 2 goalies in the conversation, or do you think there's anyone else in there?
Oh, it's actually a really good question, Connor. And I would go, when we were talking about the American goaltending, which is a little more depth, my answer will depend on how they want to play. Like if you're going to play an attacking style of hockey, I'm going to look for more of maybe a Demko over a Hellebuck if you're going to give up odd man rushes the other way. If you're Canada and you're committed, as they typically have in years past and best on best, to really taking the best players and then making them play really stingy defensive hockey, Skinner absolutely fits that bill. But if you're going to go out there and play a little fire wagon, treat the Four Nations Cup like it's a all-star game and trade chances and trade rush chances, then maybe that factors into my decision in terms of whether he's the guy. Because we've talked all year about the relative strengths and weaknesses there. And as much as I've seen improvements in how he manages the rush, it's still an area that, compared to him in zone, he's not as good at. So the fact he's played himself into this conversation is remarkable. It's really easy to forget this guy's just in his second full season in the National Hockey League, and it's a feather in his cap. But to be honest with you, if I'm the brass, I want to know what my coaching staff envisions for the style of hockey we're going to play before I pick my goaltender, because I really do think your goalie needs to fit his strengths, need to fit the strengths of how you intend to play. It doesn't mean you're never going to give up an odd man rush, but obviously how many you give up will depend on the style of attack, the types of players you want to build that roster out with, and whether you want to just go play freewheeling hockey or whether you're going to treat this like Canada has in the Olympics and shut her down and grind her out.
It's going to be cool when we get there eventually. Kevin Willie of In-Goal Magazine joining us from the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Duncan Kruger with you. Now, Steve Conroy of the Boston Herald tweeting out, it looks like Allmark heading to the Ottawa Senators. We'll wait and see on the return. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, Kevin, but if this does come to fruition, what do you think of that fit?
Is there anything about my backdrop right now, Connor, that says I've got my finger on the pulse of NHL trades? I spent the last 2 hours in Waikiki Beach surfing. So I have no scoops. Obviously, everything is pointed in that direction for a while. And I'll be honest with you, I don't love the fit unless Ottawa makes serious improvements in how they play. I don't think you fix the Senators' problem in goal without fixing the Senators' problem in front of their goaltenders. And I would point to the way Edmonton played after the coaching change as an example, right? Like we were ready. I think a lot of people in Edmonton were ready to toss Stuart Skinner out with Jay Woodcroft at the time. And I kept saying how they were the worst team in the entire National Hockey League at giving up the most dangerous chances off the rush and played to his weaknesses. I see Ottawa as a team that I would compare them a little less so to Edmonton, maybe even more so the comparison is Vancouver. And maybe that's just because I have firsthand knowledge of it, but team with tons of young talent that didn't figure it out until Rick Tocchet came into town and convinced them, got them on board with defending. And defending is not just being good defensively and playing hard defense. It's having offensive players that don't turn the puck over in dangerous areas that lead to 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s on a consistent basis, which is another thing we talked about the Oilers doing for the first month and a half of the season. Ottawa has that talent. I don't necessarily love their back end, but I don't love how their talent plays. And until you improve that environment, it may not matter who plays goal for you. Is Allmark an upgrade? Absolutely. But if you think he's going to go in there and all of a sudden turn into an acrobat, I think you're mistaken. And so unless this comes with the Ottawa Senators and their new coaches getting better defensive performances and awareness out of the group they have, you're pretty much rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. Like you need to have that foundation to give whatever goalie a chance. And that includes a guy who was full value for the Vezina Trophy 2 years ago. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. This is not me saying that the only reason Allmark won the Vezina was because they were a great defensive team in Boston. They were a really good defensive team in Boston. He was exceptional behind them. This year, they weren't as good. His numbers were still top 15 in the NHL. And this may surprise some people, but the adjusted numbers were actually better in the regular season than Jeremy Swayman. So Allmark can still play. When I say this, it is not a criticism of him. I just think more things have to change in Ottawa for him to have a chance. And in some ways that reflects on the chance that the guys before him had in Ottawa.
Kevin Willie, In-Goal Magazine, joining us. Before we let you go, Kevin, got to ask you about Kemper and Markstrom on the move. There's both going to new teams. How do you like the fits with the Devils and then the Kings?
Well, I would say the same thing about the Devils that I just did about the Ottawa Senators, a group that has a lot of talent. Obviously, they can score, but you need to learn to defend. I don't think that's been their strength. They've been a bottom third team in the National Hockey League defensively for far too long. Can Sheldon Keefe do to how the Devils play what he did to how Toronto played, right? A team that used to rely on goaltending, and all of a sudden with Keefe and still a lot of the same stars, they were a team that turned Jack Campbell into a 5x5 goaltender, large part, frankly, by how well they defended. So can they, like the Senators, can they flip that switch? The interesting thing is if they don't, that's what that's his bread and butter, right? Like one of the best goalies in the entire National Hockey League against the highest danger chances. His low danger and mid danger are just mediocre, right around mid-pack, right around expected. But if you are going to turn in and continue to play a little more fire wagon brand of hockey, you've got a goaltender at least who is at his best when he's busy and when he's facing a lot of that style of shots. Like he's a guy, and contrast that to the Los Angeles Kings, who looked at Markstrom and thought, we don't really need this guy because we're not a team that relies on our goaltenders to stop bullets in their teeth. The Devils are. That's what Jacob Markstrom is. So as much as I still think they need to improve, they've got a goalie that if the improvement is only incremental or takes some time, they've got a guy who can bail them out in the toughest moments and make the toughest saves. That's the strength. In LA, I would expect Kemper. I'm assuming last year's numbers are based mostly on injuries and a lack of health throughout the season. Really struggled to stay healthy and strong. If he gets back to being the guy he was the season before, LA is a friendly environment. Same reason I told everyone on fantasy teams, go grab Cam Talbot, and he was an all-star. Like if you play behind that system, your raw numbers are naturally going to get better. Kemper's throughout his career being a really good goaltender up until last season when he was one of the bottom three in the entire National Hockey League. You get him healthy and that guy back behind that defense, and I expect him to put up some really impressive raw numbers.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, you go back to that vacation, go down, enjoy the game, have an exquisite view, and enjoy the rest of your vacation. We appreciate you taking some time to join us tonight.
A little lava flow in NHL hockey Game 7. It doesn't get much better than that, Connor. Thanks for having me, buddy.
There you go. That is Kevin Woodley, In Goal Magazine. What a backdrop. That's got to be one of the best backdrops for those of you watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, even Instagram. We had an NFL reporter on once, and she was right on FedEx Field in Washington. That was pretty cool, but I think it got too noisy. She had to run off. Definitely, when I think of the top backdrops, I like Specs, fake Rogers Place backdrop is quite nice, but on the, overlooking the ocean in Hawaii is quite nice.
Well, listen, it's between Kevin and Paul Sir.
Yeah.
Paul Sir was green screening his house, looking like he was in Tony Montana's place. That was pretty cool. Specs always classic with the Getty Image Rogers in there. And I'm going to say ours, Connor, with the Sports 1440 logos.
I like yours.
Not too bad, right?
I think our logo on the black wall just popped. So
it's nice. Hey, like it takes up a lot of space. You can barely see my head, but that's why we do it, man.
So basically it's Woodley and then big gap and then the rest.
Yeah, I think that's, well, you know what? Actually, let me take that back. Woodley, small gap. Paul Sir, big gap for the rest. That's how I look at it.
YouTube T-Man says, Oil Country has your back. Oilers believe. Go Oilers, go. Rick from GP says, I hope it's another blowout like 7-1 Oilers. Rick, I think a lot of Oilers fans are with you. And Bronco says, Stuart Skinner is Canada's goalie. What are you smoking? The Oilers win the cup. Okay, but Skinner is the best Canadian goalie. Barf. Bronco, are you agreeing with Kevin? Because Kevin did say in certain types of teams, the shutdown defense, if you go with Skinner, I'd go with Skinner. You got Binnington in there. Aiden Hill led the Golden Knights to a cup.
It's a short list, man.
Yeah, it's not a very deep roster. We'll see. This is not like the Martin Brodeur rolling into Marc-Andre Fleury. You had Turco, Belfour, Cujo, Carey Price, Patrick Waugh. Like, not quite as deep as it used to be. But I think Stuart Skinner, hey, he might be the guy. We'll see. We'll see what happens very shortly here. That 4-team tournament, best on best, will be here before we know it. Can't wait. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we will wrap up the show and hand things over to Turn Sports. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley and Declan Kruger with you here. Get those texts in 1-833-401-1440. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
C.W. Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact C.W. Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Hi, Jason Gregor for Volvo of Edmonton. There you go. This summer, lease the new 2024 Volvo XC60 with 0% finance, or save up to $6,500 on select models for qualifying loyal customers. Plus a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles. And if you're thinking hybrid, save $6,000 off all 2024 new and demo XC60 Recharge plug-in models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. 1205 101st Street Southwest, or visit volvocarsedmonton.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Boxing Week pricing is back at the Brick, and that means amazing end-of-year sales during summertime. Save up to 40% off mattresses and up to $700 off sectionals. Also, take up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages. Plus, from June 28th to July 1st only, find specialty Boxing Weekend deals like mattresses starting at just $149.95. Make your dream home a reality with brand name items on a budget. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
The Cheesy Burger Pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Join NHL alumni at the Hockey Heroes Charity Alumni Weekend in Whitecourt on September 6th and 7th. A Friday night banquet featuring live entertainment, auctions, and a great meal, followed by a charity golf tournament Saturday at the Whitecourt Golf and Country Club. Visit hockeyheroesgame.com to register.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Mr. Reuter does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Reuter, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Reuter.
Will Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson, and our team here is so hyped about being in the finals and ending the Canadian drought that we're giving away a free air conditioner when Edmonton brings home the cup. So enter now at weissjohnson.com. Hit the Contact Us button, tell us who your favorite Edmonton player is, and you'll be entered to win a brand new air conditioner minus installation. Our family cheering loud and proud since 1977. We want the cup!
This is Rock Nation, pledge your allegiance, your petite song, all black every day. black cars, all black, everything. And I drove the blackbirds, riding with they diligence. I get more in depth if you boys really real enough. This is not familiar. I'll explain later. But for now, let me get back to this paper. I'm a couple bands down and I'm trying to get back. I gave the other grip, I lost a flip for 5 stacks. Yeah, I'm talking 5,60 shots, 0 cigar. Back to run the circus round. Now we squared up.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you here. The show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use your game sense, but hey, maybe do a little parlay action tonight. Shots, blocks, saves, goals against, points, anytime goal score. You can dial up something massive. Brandon Douglas probably cooking something up. He's back from vacation. He's got to have something going. Declan, you got any parlays you're going to roll with tonight up at PlayAlberta.ca?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to do this one just for the love of the game.
I love it. I
can't, I don't want to be hedging bet. I don't want to be doubly disappointed because if I was going to bet, of course I'm betting Oilers. And, I know one wants to hear the big scary if word, but if they do come to lose, then I'm out. Then it's like a double whammy. So I can't do it.
Yeah. We had someone earlier on saying bet money on the Panthers. And if they win, you'll at least get money.
I hate that. I would never do that. I would never do that.
Can't do it.
That's why I don't even like fantasy football sometimes. Obviously, I'm always playing fantasy football, but when I have someone and he goes off against the Bills, I hate myself. I hate myself for cheering for it.
Might as well be him, I guess, if someone's going to do it. We're getting some pictures rolling in from the game down in Sunrise, Panthers, Oilers. As you would expect, a good chunk of red, but there's a lot of blue and orange in that crowd as well. And something tells me they'll be back for the start of the period. Unlike some of those Panthers fans that take too long getting their beer and their washroom break, looks like Oilers fans are going to be taking advantage of it. Going to be a great one. Crowd's going to be fantastic. And, I'm just seeing a lot more pictures. Very healthy mix of the two sides. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. Harry says, 2-zip Florida 5-2 cup winner called 710 KK show. I don't know what the 2-zip means. But Florida 5-2 cup winner? Guess we'll see what happens here. Bronco kind of confirming. Skinner would not be on his list when it comes to best on best Canadian tournament. I know I got him in there. That's just me selfishly. We'll see. I think I'd have a few Oilers. I think Bouchard's knocking on the door with what he's done. A guy who can anchor a power play, although you're going to have Cale Makar, who's pretty dang good himself. Obviously, McDavid. I think Hyman's 70 goals this season almost assured him a spot. Maybe that Chris Kunitz role with Sidney Crosby. That worked out pretty well. So you roll it forward with McDavid and Hyman. After that, we'll see. A few other Canadians will be there maybe at the Olympics. Too bad Germany doesn't get a go at this. Declan, I don't know about you. I don't love this, whatever it's called, the top 4 tournament. I want to get all the other nations out there too, and maybe have something spectacular happen. Have a sleeper team go on a run.
I agree. First of all, it doesn't seem like the true best of the best. And then, I just want the potential for Estonia to shock the world and go on, an American run a la the 1980 team with Herb Brooks. That's what I really want. We don't get that now. It's just 4 teams. So I hear you. I'm with you.
Canada, US, Sweden, and Finland. Yeah, one thing I did like about that tournament, they did I don't even know when it was. You had the Young Stars, which was kind of gimmicky, but then you also had Team Europe, which I guess also was kind of gimmicky, but it was a little bit fun. But whatever. Let's talk a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers. 1-833-401-1440. A lot of texts giving a lot of support for the Oilers that they'll find a way to get the job done. Declan, I just don't know if you're the Florida Panthers. It really doesn't matter. If you're able to compartmentalize it all and just chuck those last 3 games, that's fine. In reality, the first 3 games mean very little now, too. It's down to one final game. The Oilers come in with all the momentum. The Florida Panthers on the opposite side of it. I will say, if you remember 2006, after the 4-0 win in Game 6 against the Panthers, I think a lot of Oilers fans felt the same way. They've got the momentum. They've won 2 straight, make it 3, and you're a Stanley Cup champion. For the Oilers now, it's make it 4, but obviously it didn't quite go that way. The depth scoring for the Oilers in the final. Fogel's got 2 goals, 5 points. Holloway 2 goals. McLeod 3. Janmark, Henrique, Brown. The Oilers' depth scoring. It was all they were getting in the first couple games of the series. And then, McDavid obviously ramps up his game. Leon Draisaitl, like Spec said, 1 point last game, but performance-wise, really ramped it up. The depth of this team, which we have say the storyline has been going into almost every series, not as good as the other side. You know, the Dallas Stars, and deservedly so. Good team, good depth. They got praised for it. The Florida Panthers, good team, good depth, got praised for it. The Edmonton Oilers, I think they're, for a lot of people, kind of that lazy take that it's McDavid and Draisaitl and that's it. Even when he had Hyman putting up 50, you know, Bouchard doing what he did from the back end, Nugent Hopkins coming off a 100-point season. But, you know, we weren't really sure about the third line. And then, you know, what an addition Adam Henrique was at the deadline, what he was able to do, obviously with the versatility. He can jump up and play on that top wing if needed, but also you can throw him back third line center and seems to be fitting in great. That's a guy I would be really pushing for the team to re-sign, especially you gave up that first round pick for it. The previous year when you gave up the first round pick, Matthias Ekholm, you had term with it. I think this year you could try to lock Adam Henrique up for a couple more seasons. That would be fantastic. Sergei Bobrovsky in between the pipes for the Panthers. Took the optional skate today. Did not skate yesterday. I think some people thought that might be something. It's not looking like that's going to mean a whole lot, Declan? I think Bobrovsky's probably a little bit of a mental reset, and I would expect him to be bouncing back tonight. Kyle Okposo gets back into the lineup. What did you think of Nick Cousins? Probably not too much to see from Nick Cousins last game, eh?
No, I don't think we were too surprised this was I mean, I don't think we would have been surprised either way, but it's not like Nick Cousins had some Gretzky-esque performance where we thought we need to keep him in the lineup, right? So, no, not surprising for me.
Okposo playing for that big bonus, $500,000, I think, if they win the cup. So maybe he'll be a little bit more motivated. Whatever happens, it's going to be awesome. We wait to see. We're about 28 minutes wait from puck drop. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in tomorrow. I'm going to be back in the host chair tomorrow with Declan Kruger. Hope to have you along for the ride. We'll have a great show recapping whatever does happen tonight. It's going to be amazing. Right now, let's get to a Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by High Street Insurance, driven by people, not products. We are people taking care of people. For 10 years, servicing Canadian businesses like yours. HighStreetInsurance.com. Enjoy the game, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, Game 7, of course, of the Stanley Cup Finals set to go in about 27 minutes here. The Edmonton Oilers in Sunrise trying to accomplish the ultimate goal. MLB scores around the league. Plenty of games on tap. The Guardians and Orioles tied right now 2-2 in the top of the fifth. 5 hits apiece for each of the teams. Phillies up 4-0 on the Tigers. Mariners lead the Rays 1-0. Pirates lead the Reds by that same mark. And 2 games tied 0-0. One being the Braves and Cardinals in the middle of the first. The other one, the Toronto Blue Jays in Boston taking on the Red Sox. That one at the top of the fourth. Dodgers and White Sox, Marlins and Royals, and the late game today. We'll see the Cubs in San Francisco to take on the Giants, all on the dock. Scores from the Euros earlier today was Croatia and Italy tying 1-1 after a last shot of the game goal by Italy to even the mark. Croatia, with this draw, will be heading home from the group stage. It was Spain over Albania 1-0 as well to go a perfect 3-0 in group play, while Albania dropped to 0-1-2. Copa America scores see Colombia leading Paraguay 2-0 in the 90th minute. That's in extra time. Right now, the first game of both teams for the tournament. Brazil and Costa Rica also going in Copa later at 7 p.m. News out of the NBA world is Scotty Barnes is set to sign a 5-year max rookie extension with the Toronto Raptors. The deal will be worth up to $270 million and will make him the highest paid player in franchise history. The deal will not be made official until the league moratorium is lifted on July 6th, and Barnes will play out the 2024-2025